ICENET. Dynasties live here.
I think they made believers out of a lot of people with just one game, and that was last night, that 5-2 triumph. They were fully deserving of their victory over the New York Islanders. Wayne Gretzky and Andy Moog, the obvious stars of the game, as we mentioned earlier. Gretzky with his 3 goals, Moog with his outstanding goaltending performance. The Edmonton Oilers, as one would expect after their success last evening, going with the same lineup. Al Arbour has opted to make some changes for the Islanders.
Yes, he has. Number 1, Gord Lane, who the Islanders got from the Washington Capitals. He will make his first start in playoff competition. And also Dwayne Sutter, who had shoulder problems, will make his first start. McEwen is out, as is Marini. So 2 new additions there, and also a surprise starter in goal for the Islanders. Billy Smith had gone 12 games without a loss. Lost his first one last night. Roland Melanson will be between the pipes. Another 20-year-old. What's happening to all this experience?
Yes, it is incredible. Roland Melanson, just 20 years of age. Andy Moog, who has only played 12 NHL games, 6 of them in the playoffs, just turned 21 a month ago. He will be in goal, and listen to the ovation as the Oilers come out onto the ice. Gary, who thought that perhaps it was a fluke when the Oilers sidetracked the Montreal Canadiens in 3 straight. But I think the slogan now at Edmonton could very well be, you gotta believe.
I like this young kid here. I mentioned to him that he's going to be on national TV tonight. He said, really? You mean all of Canada will be watching? Yes, sir, Andy Moog. All of Canada will be watching you tonight. And if he comes up with any kind of performance that he did last night, the Oilers could be in business.
Yes, I imagine there will be some special interest in this game in a certain household back in Penticton, British Columbia. Glenn Sather came into this building last evening extremely confident. You wouldn't really think that this was a coach with his team down by 2. And the way Andy Moog has played, he could very well run for mayor of the city of Edmonton and receive a lot of votes if an election were to be held in the next couple of days. And right now, we are ready for the playing of our national anthem. Again, this is going to be a noisy, exuberant crowd here in the Northlands Coliseum, jammed to capacity for Game 4 of this series. The referee for this evening's game is Dave Newell, and the linesmen are Ryan Bozak and Leon Stickle. As we mentioned earlier, Andy Moog in goal for the Oilers. The Islanders have made a change. Roland Melanson is starting. He finished last night's game, replacing Billy Smith with over 9 minutes remaining in the third period.
Don, there was a real collision in the Islander net where several players piled on top of Smith. We wonder if perhaps he was injured in that pile-up, and that's the reason he isn't playing tonight.
Well, talking to him after the game and again today, he didn't indicate there was any problem. Perhaps just a feeling by Al Arbor that he wants to make a change because Melanson played well in the 9 minutes he was in there. Offside call against the Islanders. I would think again, Gary, this evening, it's very important as far as the Oilers are concerned to score early, to force the Islanders to play their style of game rather than sit back and wait.
Well, as we look at Coach Al Arbor, the Islanders are a team of poise. They're very confident. They don't get flustered when a team scores first, but for the Oilers, a young, very spirited hockey club. The one goal, that first goal, would certainly ignite them.
Play at the Islander line. Stephen Persson over to the other side to Langevin. Langevin shoots it in. Going into the corner after it is Kevin Lowe. Up along the boards to Gary Younger. This line played extremely well last night for Edmonton in the checking role. Now Stephen Persson tried to move in from the point. He had it knocked away down to the New York blue line. Stephen Persson comes back for the Islanders. Right wing pass, Mike Bossy. The 68 goal man in across the line, trying to feed it to Bourne. Bourne cutting for the goal. Moog makes the save. Back to the line, Langevin to the other side, to Persson. The Islanders applying some early pressure as Trottier in the corner loses it. Bossy picks it up. Vogelin slides to the corner. He's down. The puck loose behind the goal. Trottier is in there. Bossy is there, and it's finally dug out by Bossy. Back to Bourne. Back to the line now. Persson winding up a deflection and a save by Andy Moog. Well, if the early moments are any indication, the Islanders are certainly playing a different style of game than they did last night.
Well, it's a good forecheck again. On the very first opportunity, the Islanders were able to get in that zone because the Oilers gave them that blue line. You can't do that against Trottier's line.
Now in the center ice area, Mark Messier for the Edmonton Oilers. The shot goes wide of the goal. It ricochets off the boards all the way to center ice. Risto Siltanen is back there over to Hicks. Hicks gets it ahead to Messier. He shoots it in, but Lane, making his first playoff start, dumps it to center ice. Eiston is forced back into his own zone. He gives it away to Hagman. Hagman, however, is taken off the puck by Lane. It's dumped out by the defenseman, and the Oilers take over in the center ice area. Now it's Messier losing it at the line. Nystrom had difficulty controlling it. He finally shot it in, but Merrick was trapped offside. From the Northlands Coliseum at Edmonton, this is Stanley Cup 81. We've played 2 minutes and 6 seconds of the first period, and Gary, so far, the Islanders have been forcing the play.
You just knew that the Islanders were going to bring up their level of play, and they showed it in the first couple of shifts.
Potvin in across the line, however, New York was offside.
Well, for the past couple of seasons, the heat has been on this man. He kept staying with those young kids. He said they will develop, mature, and they have. And a credit to Glenn Sather, because what you see out here is a fine Oiler hockey club.
We also saw assistant coach Billy Harris at the bench. We were with him after the game last night. He said, regardless of what happens tonight, Edmonton will win Game 5 drive on Wednesday night. In across the line, it's Anderson working to the corner, taken out of the play by Gillies. Anderson still managed to get the puck. There's going to be a penalty against New York. Back to the line. Here's a blast. The shot right on, and the save is going to knock it in, but the whistle had gone. Hagman knocked it in after Melanson had made the save on LaRiviere, but the whistle had gone. There's really no doubt. I heard the whistle clearly before it was banged in by Hagman. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
As was the case last night, the key for the Oilers is to skate. Here it's Clark Gillies takes down Anderson, and the first power play opportunity goes to the Oilers. So it's Gillies for holding at 2:29.
The first shift of the evening for Wayne Gretzky as he moves into the face-off circle against Trottier. Trottier got the draw back of the net to Potvin. Potvin had his stick lifted as he tried to slap it at the line by Yeri Curry. And Paul Coffey goes back of his own goal. Lead pass, center ice to Gretzky. Gretzky had a little trouble controlling it. He lost it. Here's a chance for Trottier. Trottier breaking in. And a good defensive move by Siltanen, who came back to take it away from him. Siltanen then slid into the net. He's okay. And now here's the shot.
First round draft pick Paul Coffey. What an individual effort, but again, he cuts to the inside, lets that shot go off the goalpost. Had Melanson going the wrong way, but it started right at the far end where the Oilers were able to recover from a Trottier breakaway by Risto Siltanen, and Paul Coffey grabs a hold of the puck, goes the length of the ice, and scores a power play goal. But again, he's given that blue line and lets the shot go. No screen on the play. It just had Melanson going the wrong way, and a low shot off the goalpost.
An unassisted tally by Coffey at 3:02, and the Oilers have a 1-0 lead. They trail in the series, of course, 2-1. They lost the first two on Long Island, 8-2 and 6-3. They were 5-2 winners last night. Callaghan is knocked flying. The puck goes loose. And Stephen Persson brings it out for the Islanders to Trottier on the left wing. Bourne shot. It slides to the goal mouth, and Moe steers it to the corner. Bossy let it go from a sharp angle. He missed the net, and it ricocheted off the boards all the way back into the New York zone.
Trottier's line has certainly picked up the tempo. They've been dangerous both shifts they've been out there.
On the left side, Butch Goring flipping it in. Goring now at center between Bossy and Clark Gillies. Along the boards, it's 6-3. Bossy gets it in the corner. Gillies behind the net up front. Goring couldn't get a shot away. Potvin back at the line, takes the shot. It's high and wide. Now in the corner, Bossy picks it up for the Islanders. Bossy has it knocked off his stick by Lowe. The puck still in the Edmonton zone, however, in front of the net. Bossy centered it. Gillies couldn't get a stick on it. There's a drive. Another shot by Butch Goring, and it goes up into the crowd out of play. Tremendous action around the Edmonton goal.
Well, we have some action elsewhere, not only here at Nassau Coliseum, or I'm wrong place, here in Edmonton, but the Sabres 3-1 leaders over Minnesota. Remember, Buffalo has to win. Sauvé, Perreault, Hayworth, Cicerelli. What a surprise story he is for Minnesota. Rangers on a goal by Hedberg lead St. Louis 1-0 in the first. Nassau Coliseum.
Well, they'll be back there on Wednesday night, Gary. However, you'll be going to the Spectrum, won't you?
That's right.
Clark Gillies had a goal last night. He also made a fine play on a three-way passing combination with Trottier and Bossy. The big fellow from Moose Jaw, a native of Moose Jaw, and he positions himself in front of that net. It's very difficult to move.
Yes, he is. There is a discussion right now with Potvin and Dave Newell. Possibly the holding in front of the net. Vogelin had a hold of Gillies, and he wasn't about to let go, but we saw an example of the tremendous pressure that the Islanders can put on you with their strong forechecking. And the guys that do that good forechecking, with the likes of Gillies, who is very strong in that department, you know, he has to do it. Nystrom. But Andy Moog, again, just taking off where he left off last night with those tremendous saves of his, and that really inspires the guys on the bench.
The face-off in the Edmonton zone. The puck loose in the corner. Coffey, who has scored the game's only goal, back of his own net, cutting out front now. He has good speed and a lot of poise for a 19-year-old. Play broken up in the center ice area by the Islanders. Coffey gets it again to Gretzky. The great one circling on the wing to Curry, and Curry was offside. And right now, let's go to Calgary and see what's happening in the game between the Flyers and the Flames.
Well, last night it was all Philadelphia, but they lost the game. And what a start for Calgary. Jamie Hislop, what a move he makes to the inside. Cuts to the inside, lets that shot go. And the Calgary Flames have jumped off to that 1-0 lead. What a move.
I was talking with Al McNeil during the Calgary-Chicago series, and McNeil was referring to the work of Jamie Hislop and how it really seemed to improve his club when they acquired him from Quebec in the trade for Bouchard.
It was a good trade for both teams.
Now coming in across the line, Howard has it knocked away. Anderson circles in the center ice area. He had difficulty controlling it. He's pinned against the boards by Potvin. The puck goes loose in the corner. Carroll tried to feed it ahead to Sutter, his first appearance of tonight's hockey game, and it was too far for him. Icing is called against New York. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Well, Glenn Sather continues to try and get Dave Semenko, 27 of the Oilers, against Bob Nystrom. We know what kind of a job Nystrom does in the hitting department to inspire his hockey club, trying to nullify that by putting Semenko out there. And that has been a good matchup, where we saw some tremendous hits by both of those players.
Well, of course, last night, one thing they were trying to do with Semenko was to break the confidence of Billy Smith. And I think Semenko may have succeeded in doing that as he positioned himself in front of the goal. Gretzky in the corner, dodges a body check, he centered it, there was nobody there. Coffey at the line, shoots it back at the goal. This is where Gretzky is most dangerous. He has it knocked away from him, it comes to the line. The Riviere keeps it in. Gretzky back at the goal. Gretzky right up front, a on the rebound. But what a move by Gretzky to come right out in front of the net. And it's 2-0.
You notice when players tend to pull out of the zone, Gretzky does not move from behind the net, even though it may look like the Islanders gain control. Watch 27 Semenko. He does his job in front of the net. Lorimer has him pushing him right in against Melanson. He has got absolutely no chance against Curry, who comes in against the rebound. What's the goaltender supposed to do? So let's give the marks to Dave Semenko on that play for doing his job.
Well, that's what you said in last night's telecast, Gary, that Semenko would be attempting to do that, and we saw the perfect example right there of how that big forward standing in front of the goaltender can create problems. Sticks get up, involving Bob Bourne and Dave Lumley in the New York zone. Edmonton was called on the offside.
See, the big thing, of course, is even if a defenseman is harassing you and pushing you, all you do is let the defenseman push you right into the goaltender. And that's a good play. There's no way the referee can call it as long as an Islander defenseman is there. We look at Mike Bossy. Dave Hunter, a tremendous job against Bossy thus far.
Well, those comments on Semenko's role from a man who was most proficient at that particular task with the Philadelphia Flyers. Stephen Pearson in his own zone. Lead pass to Trottier. He deflected it into the center ice area to Bob Bourne. In across the line. His quick shot. It's deflected by Moore. Off the glass. Lumley is bodied. He goes down. Trottier tried to center it. It's intercepted by Hunter. The puck loose in the center ice area. Bob Bourne dodges a body check. Then has it taken away by Lowe. On the wing to Hunter. His slap shot is wide. Trottier bodied by Gary Unger. Unger goes down. That's Trottier. He's a stocky individual. He can take a lot of physical punishment. However, he is tripped up, and there's going to be a penalty to Edmonton. Melanson gets to the bench. The extra attacker, Goring, is out there. Goring with the puck. He dodges the check, having some difficulty now, but the Islanders still in possession. Over to Stefan Persson, back to Goring. Goring dumped it in, and as soon as it's touched by the Oilers, a penalty will be coming up. With the score, Edmonton 2, the New York Islanders nothing. This is Stanley Cup 81.
Just a few moments ago, Gary Younger tried to take out Trottier unsuccessfully. This time, Glenn Anderson tried to make contact, tried to use the stick. A tripping call, 6:26. The first opportunity for the Islanders on the power play.
Their power play has been devastating, although last night, a short-handed goal by Wayne Gretzky early in the game sort of took some of the sting out of that power play. Gretzky in the New York zone. He falls on top of the puck, and the face-off will take place outside the line.
Gretzky was going after, trying to forecheck Butch Goring. You know, Gillies made an interesting statement. He said, last night, that's the best game I've ever seen Gretzky play, not only offensively, but the little guy was actually coming back and doing some back-checking. He was really impressed. And when you're recognized by your opposition, you know you've done a job.
1:43, the time left in the penalty. Goring in across the line. He dumps it back of the goal. It's stopped there by Moog. Coffey up along the boards. However, Potvin keeps it in. Here's Potvin going for the goal. Potvin takes the shot. The save is made by Moog. Potvin never really got a good shot away. I don't think he expected to be allowed to walk in as he did.
Well, Potvin is a guy that the Oilers certainly have to be aware of him and not be attracted by the puck. They have to look around. Where's number 5, Dennis Potvin? Does get his own rebound there, but not much on the shot. If they can contain Potvin on that power play, you know they have a good opportunity of killing it off, but he is the real key out there.
Potvin, of course, had those 3 power play goals in the 6-3 victory in game number 2.
Well, if that high wingman has his back to Potvin, he'll just move around him and get in the slot. You have to be facing him sideways so you can look at the puck there and Potvin.
Of course, you can't really concentrate on Potvin because there's a fellow wearing number 22 who can score a goal or two.
Yeah, that's another story.
Here he comes, Bossy out of his own zone, over to Bourne, in across the line. Bourne has it poked away by the Riviere. Coming back to help out is Silverman. However, Bossy takes it. Back to the line to Persson. Over to the other side to Potvin. The Islander captain returns it to Persson. Persson trying to center it. It's knocked down by Hunter. He gets it again. Over to Potvin, moving in a shot. And the puck goes by. Bourne is in the goal. And we've got another penalty coming up, I believe, against the Edmonton Oilers. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in just a moment.
Not a very favorable position for the Oilers. Paul Coffey on a cross-check against Bobby Bourne actually put him right in the net. 2 men short. I don't like the Oilers' chances.
45 seconds left in the penalty to Anderson. When Bourne was trapped in the net, Moog wasn't about to let him out either. Well, Hunter in the face-off circle with Trottier. Trottier is being waved out. So is Unger. Risto Siltanen and Clark Gillies will go in. From the face-off, back to the line. Bourne over to Potvin. Into Gillies. Gillies tried to feed it in front of Trottier. Trottier couldn't control it. Back at the line, it's Bourne. Bourne at the side of the net to Bossy. Bossy out to Potvin, moving in. He scores! And they will still hold the man advantage because only 29 seconds remained in the penalty to Anderson.
Well, one thing about the Islanders, you know, with their power play, I mean, this is excellence at its best, finding that open man. They had the Oilers running around. They couldn't really establish a good triangle, and Potvin has a tremendous wrist shot, just overpowered Andy Moog on that power play. Here you get a look at it at the high angle. You notice white jerseys just running around all over the place, and when you don't get that set position, try to keep the opposition to the outside, you don't have much of a chance.
Bossy lost it at the line. The Oilers still a man short with Coffey in the penalty box. And apparently the Islanders are being called on the offside. Bossy put himself offside at the line when he lost control of the puck.
You'll see Clark Gillies positioning himself in front of that net. The Islanders really depend on him to do the heavy work, the corner work, the work in front of the net. And he just said, you know, it just seemed like we were a step and a half behind last night, but I'll guarantee you something. We'll be a different hockey club tonight. They showed signs early, but then all of a sudden the Oilers, they took off.
A minute 30 left in the penalty to Paul Coffey. Puck in the center ice area. Gretzky gets it at the line. He plays it back, intercepted by Bossy. Bossy drops it to Gillies. Gillies to the line. Potvin shot, save. Loose puck to Gillies, trying to move in, and it's knocked down by Kevin Rowe, and he fires at the length of the ice. Potvin goes back for it. 2-1 is the score in favor of the Edmonton Oilers, and at the line, the offside call against Edmonton.
Another youngster that has just blossomed to be a very offensive defenseman, can handle the puck so well, and that's been the success of the Oilers, first against Montreal and also against the Islanders, the ability to have one guy that can really handle the puck, make the plays, paired with a defensive defenseman like a Lee Fogelin. And that combination has worked out very well.
Goring is out there with Sutter and Tonelli. And Potvin back in the blue line on this power play. Tonelli in across the line, feeding it to the goal mouth. Picked up by Sutter. He tried to send it out front. It was knocked away by Edmonton along the boards. It's picked up by Anderson, and he shoots at the length of the ice. 45 seconds left in the penalty. Messier knocks Potvin down. Harrison managed to pick up the puck and flip it out to the center ice area. It's loose and then fired back in by Doug Hicks.
Again, the Oilers are very aggressive in their penalty killing. When you have the speed of an Anderson and Messier, you can take that chance because you can always get back into play and help out your defense.
22 seconds left in the penalty to Coffey. Dennis Potvin shoots it in. Sutter goes to the corner. He's knocked off the puck by Siltanen. He's unable to get it out. Here's a shot by Potvin. Tonelli moving in. Saved by Moog. As Tonelli had Moog at his mercy, and Moog managed to get a piece of it. Now it's Pearson back in his own zone as the penalty to Coffey has expired. Along the boards to Sutter. Ahead to Goring, too far for him, and Anderson picks it up for Edmonton to Gretzky. Gretzky rink wide to Callaghan, intercepted by Bob Nystrom, and Nystrom shoots it into the Edmonton zone. 10 minutes remaining in the first period. 2-1. Edmonton leading the Islanders. Here comes Gretzky. Gretzky fakes the shot. Turning inside the New York zone, feeding it back to the line, and Fogelin could not keep it in. Fogelin fired it back in, and two Oilers were trapped offside.
The Minnesota North Stars continue to peck away at that Buffalo lead. Kristoff has just scored. That's now 3-2 in that second period. The Rangers on goals by Hedberg and Duguay. Newton, the lone scorer for St. Louis.
And of course, as you saw earlier in the Calgary-Philadelphia game, Jamie Hislop in the first period giving Calgary a 1-0 lead over Philadelphia. Here it's 2-1 Edmonton. Coffey flipping it in. Melanson way out of his goal to play it along the boards to the line. It's kept in by the Oilers. Here's a chance for Gretzky. Gretzky trying to move in. Gretzky. They pin it against the boards for a face-off. This kid never ceases to amaze.
That has the fans buzzing in here. I'll tell you, how do you stop a kid like this? The stick work, he keeps that puck so close to him, in and out sideways. But you notice both of the Islanders fishing for the puck. They're trying to stick check a Wayne Gretzky. You don't do that. Ken Morrow, he tried, couldn't, and then Melanson was the only guy that was able to save that. Gordy Lane must be talking to himself. But don't feel bad. Gretzky has done that to a lot of people this year.
Face-off to the right of Melanson. The Oilers with Gary Unger at center against Trottier. Puck goes loose. Picked up along the boards by Bossy. Bossy flipping it on the right side to Trottier, working to the corner against Coffey. It goes loose back of the goal, and it's picked off by Lumley. Lumley, a lead pass to Gary Unger. He had his best game as an Oiler last night. Flipping it into the corner to Hunter. Back of the goal, he's tied up neatly by Bossy. The puck goes loose. Lumley is there. He falls on it, and there'll be a face-off.
What's that song? Me and My Shadow? You see, Dave Hunter, his job and his only job is to look after Mike Bossy. Keep him off the scoreboard while the teams are playing at full strength. Takes a lot of pride in that. I guess Guy Lafleur would remember Dave Hunter. That was his job against Montreal.
If I recall the statistics correctly, Gary, from last night, Bossy was limited to just 3 shots.
Remember, Bossy played the power play, so Dave Hunter has done an exceptional job against him. Everybody does the job that they have to do out there. That's what it's all about. That's what it's called teamwork.
Back to the line, Coffey, into Hunter, to Lumley. Lumley lost it, and Bourne starts out. A little too far for Bossy on the wing, and it's broken up in the center ice area by Coffey. 8:35 is the time left in this first period. It's 2-1, Edmonton leading New York. Shot into the New York zone. Puck goes loose back of the goal. Landsman along the boards, kept in by LaRiviere. Into the corner to Lumley. Lumley to the line to LaRiviere. A backhand shot. Melanson, who was screened on that shot, just got it at the last moment to kick it to the corner. Back at the line, Coffey knocks it down. His shot, a weak one, is blocked in front by Landsman. Now it's Bourne with a long slide, and Moog had that go off his glove, and I believe that hit the crossbar. Now Unger comes out for Edmonton to Messier. Slap shot. Gillies, break wide pass, intercepted. Messier in across the line, trying to go around. That'll be a penalty against New York. Live from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, the Stanley Cup playoff.
Winger is very easy to cover if he just goes up and down his wing. Messier broke the middle, got the pass. Ken Morrow had to hold on to him. He got the penalty, so the Oilers will have that power play opportunity again.
They scored the last time they had the man advantage, a goal by Coffey. Now it's brought in by Messier. He tried to feed it into Anderson, broken up by Carroll. Carroll in the center ice area for New York, doing a nice job of ragging the puck. He plays it back to Lorimer, and Lorimer shoots at the length of the ice. Risto Siltanen back of his own goal to Hagman. The Oilers come out now. Hicks on the left side, too far for Anderson. It's knocked up to center ice. Goring one-on-one with Siltanen. Goring trying to go around him. He takes the shot, a glove save, and Andy Moog hangs on to it with Carroll cutting for the goal.
You know, that was an interesting play. Siltanen against Goring, one-on-one, but what we didn't see was that Hicks coming back with that trailer, watching him. The tendency is to always watch that puck. That slot man is in the clear, but Doug Hicks did a tremendous job in picking up the trailer. Another guy that has speed to burn, number 11, Mark Messier. What a second half season he had.
Yes, when that line of Messier, Anderson, and Hagman was united, they began to click almost immediately.
Well, Messier ended up with as the third leading scorer for the Oilers. Got over the 20-goal plateau for the first time.
Siltanen pass up in the wing to Yeri Curry, to Coffey. Coffey lost it. Callaghan gets it back. Callaghan coming out of his own zone. He lost it. Good forechecking there by Trottier. Now over on the wing to Coffey. Coffey looking for Gretzky. He finds him. Drop pass to Callaghan. He tried to center it. It was knocked down by Bourne, and Bourne starts out for the Islanders. Bob Bourne coming in on the left side against Siltanen. Siltanen takes it away. When you talk about improved players with the Oilers, the little Finn is definitely one of them. Silverman in across the line. He's got a tremendous shot. He looks for Callaghan. It's loose in front. Gretzky gets it back to the line to Coffey. Into the corner again to Gretzky. He tried to center it. It's broken up. Not out. Kept in by Coffey. Here's a shot. What a drive just wide. Now along the boards, Carroll clears it the length of the ice.
Islanders very fortunate there. Had good possession on 2 occasions. Couldn't get it past Paul Coffey. Couple of giveaways.
Here's a giveaway. Carroll has it. He tried to feed it to Goring. Goring at the side of the net. Taken out of the play by Coffey, and Moog holds the puck for a face-off with 12 seconds left in the penalty to Ken Morrow.
I think that before this guy's career is over, Siltman, he will be a Norris winner. He has all the tools, the speed, the shot, the intelligence.
What do you think this fellow might win before it's all over?
I think they can just sign his name on the cup, the MVP for years to come.
Face-off to the right of Andy Moog. 2-1 the score. 5:52 left in the opening period. 12 seconds in the penalty to Ken Morrow of the Islanders. In the face-off circle, it's Goring against Gretzky. They'll do it again.
It was interesting, Dennis Potvin saying we may have taken them a little lightly. I don't think that's the case anymore. They know they're against a pretty good hockey club.
Gretzky starts out looking for Messier on the left side. Gretzky in across the line. However, coming up on the right wing was Anderson, and he went offside.
Carroll, a youngster that has come into this lineup due to injuries, and Coach Al Arbor said this kid here won't hurt you defensively. One of the better checkers on our hockey club. I use him at every opportunity to kill the penalty. Goes out there and does one heck of a job for us.
He was a third-round draft choice in 1979 from London of the OHA. And the penalty to Morrow expires as Morrow goes back into his own zone. Then plays it ahead to Hagman. Right wing pass for Anderson, deflected into the New York zone. Langevin back with his goal. Towards the Pearson. Langevin was bodied by Anderson. Langevin gets the puck again. And under the pressure of Anderson, he fires it down the ice. We have an icing call coming up against New York with 5:18 left in this first period.
You think the Oilers would be tired for all the hits they gave out last night, but still taking that man, riding him against the boards. As the game progresses, that certainly takes a lot out of you. You know, those shoulders become very weary out there. But there is no easy way to play winning hockey.
I thought you made a very good point earlier in your comments about the Edmonton dressing room. An air of quiet confidence, not the golly gee, look what we did that you would expect from a young team.
That amazed me too. I couldn't believe it. He came here to do a job.
Lane back of his own goal. He did not dress last night. As a matter of fact, this is his first playoff start. His pass hit a broken stick in the center ice area. Now it's fired in by the Islanders. Cleared out to the center ice area. Picked up there by Lane. Dumped back in again. However, Fogelin shoots it out. Now, Merrick tries to bring it in. Good checking by Lowe. He stood up at the blue line and knocked it back into the center ice area. The puck loose in the Edmonton zone. Picked up by Messier. Over to Anderson. He deflected it down into the Edmonton zone, and Lane is back there for the Islanders. Now a pass over on the left side to Stanley. He's bodied. Good check there by Gary LaRiviere. He's made a big difference to the Oilers since being acquired by Quebec and Vancouver in that late transaction. Now it's Stanley in across the line. Feeding it into the corner to Nystrom. Nystrom back of the goal, trying to center it. It comes out at the side of the net, and it's picked up by LaRiviere. Off the boards to Anderson. Anderson working his way down across the line. He falls. The puck goes loose. Gary Younger from a sharp angle took a shot. It hit Ken Morrow, and it's picked up by Merrick. Merrick ahead to Tonelli, looking for Nystrom. Nystrom breaking in. Just scores!
Bob Nystrom always seems to get his act together come playoff time, but the Oilers had this play pretty good. Actually, Nystrom is heading for the net, picked up a loose puck that deflected off an Oilers stick, actually slowed down. Coming coming up now. Watch it. The shot directed, hits the skate, and Nystrom just picks it up in a high wrist shot. Eddie Moog actually got his glove on it, but went over the line. So Nystrom, who has thrown out some resounding checks, not only today, but throughout the series, grabs a goal and a tie game.
So the Islanders have fought back from a 2-goal deficit. A power play tally, and then this goal by Nystrom. And the Islanders fire it into the Edmonton zone as it's touched by Siltanen. Icing is called against New York. Nystrom on that one got a bit of a break with that puck deflecting off Toffee, but he certainly took advantage of the opportunity afforded him.
That's right. And, you know, you always talk about that second man going at the net, you know, for the possible rebound. And Tonelli, I'm sure, was shooting it at the net and for just that reason. And that's when Nystrom was able to take advantage of a loose puck, and he made no mistake. So that line is used for checking, primarily for checking. Anytime they get a goal, that's a bonus for you.
The Gretzky, Curry, Callaghan line out there now for the Edmonton Oilers as they do some repair work to the ice surface in the New York zone. Linesman Leon Stickle working on the ice. Another patch job being performed by Ryan Bozak up near the blue line. Dave Newell, the referee for tonight's game. 3:33 the time left in the opening period. From the face-off, it slides to Melanson. He steered it back of the goal, and it's brought out by Bossy. He lost it to Siltanen. Siltanen having some difficulty with Bourne. Knocked down by Trottier now, in across the line, over to Bossy. Bossy, a backhand shot. He gets the rebound, another shot. It hit a skate in front, and it's picked up by Gretzky. Gretzky dodges a check from Bourne. A long lead pass to Curry, trying to set up Callaghan, and Callaghan couldn't get a stick on it. The puck loose in the New York zone. Brought out by Morrow. Morrow shoots it in. 2:56 left in this opening period. The score tied at 2. Edmonton held a 2-0 lead, but the Islanders have fought back. It's shot in now as Edmonton makes the change. Gretzky is knocked down, and there's a penalty coming up against scoring. The Stanley Cup playoff game tonight is coming to you from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Islanders are really complaining. They felt Wayne Gretzky on a brush from Goring, took a dive, but Dave Newell, who has the best position, called it on the interference at 17-16.
I think Gretzky might have got a 5-6 on that one.
I guess whatever you can get away with.
Back to the line to Kevin Lowe. Tried to keep it in. He does. Here's the shot. Anderson fanned on it. He had it poked away just at the last moment by Trottier. Back into the center ice area. Kevin Lowe is back there to Hagman. Hagman over to Coffey. Coffey to Messier. Back to Hagman. The Oilers throw that puck around very well. Kevin Lowe in across the line, working to the corner. Had it knocked away by Morrow. Kept in at the line by Hagman. Hagman rink wide to Paul Coffey. Having a little difficulty controlling it. Trying to move into the high slot area. Now over to Lowe. Lowe in the corner to Hagman. Hagman having some difficulty along the boards. Over to Coffey. A backhand shot that is knocked down in front by Potvin, and the Islanders break out. A lead pass to Carroll. Carroll moving in. He took a shot off the leg. The puck at the side of the net was cleared to the corner by Moe. Now Coffey brings it out with Messier. Messier trying to catch up with it, working to the corner. Having difficulty as he's pinned against the boards by Langevin. And starting out is Bob Bourne. Bourne, one of the fastest skaters in the league, trying to catch up with that loose puck as it's brought back now by Hagman. Gretzky going for the goal. Hagman is spun around. The puck goes loose. Tonelli plays it off the boards and down the ice. 44 seconds left in the penalty to Goring.
You know, Hagman, he had Gretzky all alone. I don't think he saw him on that play.
Long pass into the center ice area, intercepted by Trottier. He's done quite a job for the Islanders in killing off penalties. He was most effective last night. Now it's Hicks working in across the line. Takes the ankle, going for the goal, the save, the rebound. And at the side of the net, Melanson cleared it to the corner. Now along the board, Stanley goes to the center ice as we move into the final minute of this opening period. Siltanen with a good move, lugging it for the Oilers. Long shot, saved by Melanson. Silverman can really let it go, and he ripped one there. Now it's Curry inside the line, over to Hicks. Hicks shot. And it's knocked down by Melanson. And Trottier clears it down the ice as scoring comes out of the penalty box. Backboard is Hicks. Hicks up along the boards into the center ice area. Semenko gets it over to Gretzky. Gretzky moving into the spot, takes the shot line. Curry picks it up and played it through the line, but Silverman was not in position. 21 seconds left in the period as it's fired in by Kevin Lowe. The puck loose in the New York zone. Gretzky is bodied by Merrick. Merrick trying to move it out of there. Gretzky gets it again. Gretzky out front. Back to the line. Silverman with a shot. A weak drive. He broke his stick on it. 2 seconds left, and that will be the end of the first period. An entertaining first period of hockey with first the Oilers applying the pressure, but then the Islanders fighting back.
Well, Roland Melanson, he had to face 13 shots by the Oilers, some on the difficult variety. An excellent save on Wayne Gretzky on one occasion, but a good effort again by the Oilers. They dominated most of that period, but Bob Nystrom, who will pick up a loose puck, watch it deflect off a skate of Paul Coffey, and he just goes around and one-on-one, and Nystrom, which he does so well in the playoffs, seems to come alive. It's a tie game after one.
And so the score at the end of the first period, the New York Islanders 2 and Edmonton 2.
Back in a moment, right after this important grog.
Well done, me. You've infiltrated the Mr. Submarine shop.
I am setting diversionary explosives.
Just hide the secret sauce, me.
I am now making a delectable hot roast beef for me and an assorted cold cuts for you.
Me, the secret sauce.
Squeezing secret sauce out.
Me, that's it. Now just grab the sauce.
What about your sub, Captain?
Blast the sub. No, wait.
Mr. Submarine, nothing goes down so good.
Edmonton jumped into a 2-0 lead. A power play goal by Paul Coffey, unassisted at 3:02. And then Yeri Curry with Gretzky drawing an assist, his 17th point of the playoffs, with a 2-man advantage. Dennis Potvin scored for New York. And then late in the period, Bob Nystrom tied it up. The Oilers out shooting the Islanders 13-9 in the opening period. Edmonton going with the same lineup tonight as was on the ice last evening in a 5-2 triumph, while the New York Islanders have made a couple of changes. The most notable change, I suppose, in goal, with Roland Melanson replacing Billy Smith, and of course they have added Sutter and Lane.
Well, Sutter certainly gives them a lot of strength along the boards. He's a competitive hockey player, likes to mix it up in the corners, something that was lacking here last night for the Islanders. You know, the Oilers certainly thumped them around as they're doing tonight. There was no response by the Islanders. But you know, as I look at that last night's goal, remember when he got hit against the board, a tremendous check, bounced straight up again, and the next shift got the goal. But that's the type of player that Bob Nystrom is. But it's, I wonder, those two goals, how it will affect the Oilers. You know, if it's going to deflate their confidence level. I don't think so. I'm sure they're still confident and eager to get the second period underway.
I have to agree with you, Gary. And, you know, talking about the Islanders and the hitting and the check that Nystrom took just prior to the game outside the New York dressing room, I was talking with Al Arbor, and I said, Al, I think it's obvious that your team has to be a little more physical tonight. That's why we're making the player changes. We need more bumping out there. And, of course, they have added Lane and Sutter. Game 5 of this series from the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, Wednesday night. We advise you to check your local listings for the telecast time in your area.
Well, let's have a look at the Flyers. Watch Paul Holmgren, number 17, in front of Pat Reagan. Might be a power play. The deflection right through the legs, and so that game is now tied 1-1, Flyers and Flames at the Corral.
The Flames last night got some tremendous goaltending from Reagan. They were outshot badly for the second consecutive game by the Philadelphia Flyers. However, for the second consecutive game, they were also the winners. And the Edmonton Oilers, as they move out on the ice, get another tremendous ovation from this capacity crowd in Edmonton. Edmonton, of course, this year led the entire National Hockey League in attendance.
You know, John, another area that the Oilers have certainly improved when I saw them during the season was they'll make 5 or 6 short plays to get into the zone. Normally it was always one guy carrying the mail, so they have improved in that area. Rangers still ahead of St. Louis, 3-1. Hedberg, Duguay, and Vickers, Duke for St. Louis. Steve Payne, his 10th goal, that's tops in the playoffs. That game is now tied. And, of course, Flyers and Calgary are tied. The Sabres on the brink of elimination.
Are you surprised at that one?
Yes, I thought that Buffalo would win because of their defense and their goaltenders and the 7th game in Buffalo. Wrong again.
They may never get the opportunity to play that 7th game. As a matter of fact, the Buffalo Sabres must win tonight to prevent elimination. The Minnesota North Stars, a power of strength in the playoffs, winning all 3 against Boston, winning for the first time ever at the Boston Garden, and winning the first 3 against Buffalo.
You know, when I hear the fans hollering and screaming here, it certainly brings back pleasant memories in Philadelphia. I mean, that crowd there used to inspire us, and it was always worth a goal because of the fans, and I'm sure the Oilers feel exactly the same way. We look at number 14, Bob Bourne, has been quiet in the first 2 games here at the Coliseum. You just wonder when he's going to explode.
We had an opportunity to talk with his father today. His father and some friends from Kindersley, Saskatchewan, in to take in this game. As a matter of fact, I think about half a dozen of the players have relatives from close by or in. Here's Curry with a shot, saved by Melanson. Now it's dumped back out to the center ice area. Gretzky knocked off the puck by Trottier, who plays it back to Langevin. Stephen Persson ahead to Trottier. Back to Persson. Play just underway in the second period. Bourne breaking in from the wing in front of the goal, and it's picked off by Callaghan. Callaghan up along the boards, but unable to get it out as it was kept in by the Islanders.
We're getting penalties. Trottier and Callaghan will go to the box. You know, interesting line matchup now. All of a sudden, the 2 offensive lines are going against each other. You see the hit there with Trottier and Callaghan, the retaliation. So Trottier will get the elbowing penalty. Callaghan, 2 minutes for roughing, and that only took 31 seconds. This guy here has made such an impression playing with Paul Coffey. I mean, these 2 guys get together all the time, discuss strategy. What a combination.
Billy Harris was telling us last night in that 8-2 loss at the Nassau Coliseum in Game 1, the Riviere was a +1 in that game.
Oh, he really concentrates behind his blue line. Of course, Paul Coffey with that excellent speed and puck handling goes to the offense at every opportunity.
Tell them about that 11-1 game involving Philadelphia, where a certain fellow was a -1.
Yeah, Flyers won, and I was -1. Won 11-1. I never forget that.
Play in the center ice area. As Messier dumps Potvin, and then the fans react as Potvin hung on to Messier. Now it's Goring in across the line. Goring to Gillies. He tried to feed Potvin. Goring gets it again. Here's a chance for Gillies. Goring, and Goring just shot it wide. Out front, Potvin couldn't get his stick on it. What a chance for Butch Goring.
I don't know if Andy Moe got a piece of that and just deflected in the corner, but good passing by the Islanders. A 2-on-1 break near the net area.
Gretzky in the center ice area loses it to Gillies. The big fella slaps one, and it's caught by Moe. Back of the goal, Kevin Lowe for Edmonton. A minute remaining in the penalties to Callaghan and Trottier. Anderson flips it into the corner. Going back after it is Lorimer. Lorimer has been used rather sparingly so far in tonight's hockey game. Lane moving out. Lane with a long drive, and it's wide. Ricochets off the glass. Merrick all along the board. Lorimer, another shot off the glass. Back to Lane. He winds up. Right on the puck loose in front. Moog didn't see it after making the save, and it was cleared by Edmonton. It goes down the ice, and as it's touched by Lorimer, icing is called against the Oilers.
Some close calls by the Oilers in their own zone. But let's look at this youngster, Andy Moog, 20 years old. Here's the way he sees it. Just gets his toe on it. Where's the puck? By golly, after the goaltender makes that initial save, that's when you need the help from your defense. Oilers were able to clear it very effectively.
This is the 13th NHL encounter for young Andy Moog. He has played more of them in the playoffs than in regular season. As Glenn Sather said last night when he first came up, he would have had trouble stopping the Goodyear blimp. But what a star he has been in the playoffs. Coffey up on the right side to Yeri Curry. Curry getting away from Tonelli. In across the line. Over on the wing to LaRiviere. He shoots it back at the goal to Gretzky. Out front to Curry. Curry directed to Coffey. Coffey tried to beat Gretzky at the side of the net, and it was broken up by Morrow. The penalized players back in the ice. Here's a chance. Curry in across the line to Gretzky. Gretzky tried to poke it by the defenseman Potvin, and it was picked off by Tonelli as Potvin tied up Gretzky. Now it's Merrick in across the line. Slopper saved by Moog. In the corner, Coffey clearing it to center ice to Gretzky. On the wing for Callaghan. Back to Gretzky. Gretzky rink wide. There's nobody there. Now it's Howitt coming back for the Islanders. As it poked away by Siltanen, it goes loose in the corner. Siltanen is bodied. The puck picked up again by Howitt. Back at the net out front. Here's a chance for Landsman. A shot right on. Harrison picks it up at the other point. He centers it. It's broken up by Siltanen. Howitt, or I should say Nystrom has it, beating it to the corner to Howitt. Now Howitt and Hicks body back at the net. The puck goes loose. The Islanders trying to get it out front. Carroll back to the line now. Landsman with a shot right on. The save by Moog. Tremendous pressure being applied here by the Islanders. Howitt has it. Beating it out front. There's nobody there, and it's dumped down the ice by Edmonton.
Well, there was a good example of that strong forechecking and having that strength to hold on to the puck and make the play.
From the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, this is Stanley Cup 81. The 4-minute mark of the second period with the score tied at 2. In the second period, the Islanders have applied pressure.
Well, you're going to see one of the best face-off men, Ryan Trottier, that great anticipation and quickness.
Back to the line, Bourne. Good move to get around Pat Hughes. However, it's kept in by the Islanders. Now picked off in the center ice area by Hunter. This is the first shift of the hockey game for Hughes. Hughes coming in from the right side in front, and Hunter couldn't get his stick on it. Good play by Hughes as Hunter was breaking for the goal.
Well, he got by the defender at the blue line, but I thought Melanson made an exceptional play. Anytime you try that pass in front of the net, a goaltender can help himself by throwing that goal stick out and deflecting it past the guy that's coming in there for the shot. Hunter, he was waiting, but the puck never did get to him. Melanson, that deflection into the crowd.
Pat Hughes in a late season trade with Pittsburgh. He has not seen much activity since being acquired by the Oilers. As a matter of fact, he dressed for the first time last night. There's a shot by Hughes that deflects off his stick up into the crowd.
Well, John, when we did our little piece with Eddie Mayo out in the ice, that is a good ice surface, very fast. The corners are lively. You'll see some good bounces coming out of there. I'm surprised that the Oilers wouldn't try that a little more with the likes of Messier and Anderson with their tremendous speed.
I'll tell the truth. Did Mayo let up on that final shot?
Are you kidding? I beat him cleanly. He's a good sport. What a guy. Tremendous season he was having until that injury.
From the face-off, it's flipped to the goal mouth by Hughes, picked up back of the goal by Lorimer. Off the boards to center ice. The Oilers in possession. Vogelin ahead to Hughes. Hughes takes the body check from Lane. He's almost knocked into the players' bench. The puck goes loose, and Hughes couldn't catch up with it. He takes a shot from a sharp angle. It ricochets off the board. Lorimer gets it ahead to Trottier. Trottier with a shot off a stick to the corner. Gary Younger in the corner. Long lead pass to Vogelin. Vogelin to Hughes. Hughes has it taken away by Gillies. Gillies dodges a check. Slap shot saved by Andy Moe. In the corner now, it's Anderson for Edmonton, cutting in front of his own goal. Being watched by Goring. Anderson in on the left wing. He falls. The puck goes loose, and it's cleared down the ice by Lorimer. The Riviere races back after it. Icing is charged against New York. There's more action at the Corral in Calgary. Let's go there right now.
The Flames trying to win another series. The action's in the Flyers zone. Jim Poplinski was right in front of the net doing a good job of screening. Brad Marsh, captain of that hockey club, lets the shot go. You saw the deflection. The Flames have jumped ahead of the Flyers 2-1. That's Corral. I'm telling you, unbelievable how the Flames play in there.
They only lost 5 games all season in the Corral.
Gord Lane.
Now it's Trottier. Playing it back of his own goal to Persson up on the left side to Clark Gillies. Back to Persson. 14:37, the time left in this second period. And Sutter knocking it back to Gillies. Moving in. Slap shot. The save by Moog. Picked up in the corner by Hagman. Hagman in the center ice area. Over on the left side. Anderson. There's a penalty coming up against the Islanders. A slashing call, I believe. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Anderson really had a burst of speed going down that left side. Dwayne Sutter on the slash. Not a very good penalty to take, because Anderson really wasn't going anywhere. So every power play that you give up, especially this time of the game, it's become very hectic out there.
Potvin cutting in front of his own goal, being bothered by Anderson. Finally, he gets away from him and clears it down the ice. The Oilers haven't had much success in getting things organized with the man advantage. Now they'll try it with Gretzky leading the way. Gretzky in across the line. He falls. So does Messier. Potvin starts back. Potvin against Siltanen. He's forced to give it up.
Well, I think it's important that everybody gets back and starts together instead of 2 guys coming back and 3 going the other way. Go as a unit out there.
Pass on the wing to Messier, going to the corner, trying to play it out front. It's broken up by the Islanders. Gretzky gets it. He centers it. Back to the line. Coffey flipped it at the side of the goal. Melanson hangs on for a face-off. More action at the Stampede Corral. Once again, let's see what's happening.
The Calgary Flames again trying to get more action. Gould carries the puck down and a pass to Lieber. Now watch Lieber, a solo effort. He's got a partial breakaway. He's hauled down. As he's going down, he fires the puck along the ice against St. Croix. And the Flames, 3-1 lead against the Flyers. Again, Don Lieber, what an individual effort. Just sliding that puck. It looks like St. Croix was going the other way and beat him cleanly.
1:18 the time left. A man advantage for the Edmonton Oilers. 13:33 left in the period. From the face-off, it goes back at the New York goal. Potvin along the boards. It comes loose. Gretzky had it go off his stick, and in front of the net, Morrow picked it up and cleared it down the ice.
Well, they got Semenko out there. One reason only, get somebody in front of Melanson. They haven't done it this period at all.
Siltanen, a pass in the center ice area to Gretzky. Gretzky in across the line. He tried to dump it ahead for Curry. It was a little too far. Goring along the boards. Bodied by Semenko, but still managed to flip it to center ice. Now it's Coffey back at his own line. Only 41 seconds left in the penalty. Here's a chance for Carroll as he steals it from Semenko. Working to the corner. Semenko falls. Carroll still has it. He's taken in against the board, still retains possession out front. He bangs away at it, and Moog has to go down to make the save.
The Oilers are a little careless in their own zone. Everybody was attracted by the puck carrier. Watch everybody going in. And what a great opportunity for the Islanders to sneak somebody in there. But Andy Moog was able to cover up and keep the score tied at 2. Right now, the Islanders have gone ahead in the shot total. They lead at this point 18-15.
27 seconds remaining in the penalty to Dwayne Sutter.
So that's only 2 shots for the Oilers in this period. Islanders have really done a good job of shutting them down in that department.
Loring and Carroll out there killing off this penalty. They have been most effective. Over on the right side to Fogelin. Fogelin working to the corner, laying it back to the net now to Gretzky. This is where Gretzky is so dangerous, working into the corner. Gretzky tried to play it back to the line, intercepted by Goring. Goring weaving his way out to center ice. The penalty will expire as he brings it in across the line. Goring still controlling it. Back of the net, bodied by Fogelin. And Callaghan picks up the loose puck. On the left side to Gretzky. Gretzky for the Oilers in across the line. Feeding it in front to Hughes. Hughes couldn't get a stick on it, and it's dumped out to center ice. Gretzky deflects it in. Picked up by Pearson. Pearson, a lead pass, hopped over Merrick's stick, and it slides all the way into the Edmonton zone.
Watch Gretzky now. He's waiting right at center ice for that long pass.
Bossy was back there to intercept. Bossy is down. Coming up against Anderson. A tripping call against Glenn Anderson with 11:37 remaining in the period. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Anderson will take his second penalty in that center ice area. And I know Anderson trying to make contact, but you just have to stay away for penalties in that area, especially against this Islander power play.
The Islanders scored once tonight with a 2-man advantage. The Oilers shoot it down. The Oilers very ineffective when they have the man advantage. Let's see what the Islanders can do. Trottier shooting it in. It ricochets off the board. Bossy gains control of it. Moving back to the line. Over on the wing to Pearson, working to the corner. Bossy breaking for the goal, but Pearson couldn't get it to him. Finally, his pass out is intercepted by Messier. And Messier, he lost it. Here's a chance for Trottier. Trottier moving in, he scores! Messier had control in his own zone. He did not fire it out. And the result is a goal by Brian Trottier.
Well, he did have control, and you know, anytime you have an opportunity to ice it, you do so, especially when you're in your own zone. Now, if he's around the center ice area, I can see him trying to rag the puck. But you notice everybody else was going out of the zone. Nobody back covering up. And then Trottier left by himself, lets that good shot go. And it's another power play goal, but a little help there, defensive let down by the Oilers. Should never leave the zone. 2 of the Oilers were leaving the zone, starting to leave the zone when Messier still had it. They have to stay behind the blue line to protect them in a case just like that.
Well, the power play was the Oilers' undoing in Game 2. It may prove to be their undoing in Game 4 as well. A drive by Hunter, and it went up on the stick of the New York defenseman, and I think it hit him in the face.
Dink. That's Stefan Pearson. Now he's just going to stick his stick out there and try to deflect it. That's always a good play for a defenseman. When that slap shot, you can Hunter telegraphed the shot, and you put the stick down and just deflect it in the crowd. But oh, that really caught Pearson, and that had a lot of velocity on it.
Stefan Pearson still being treated. He has been cut, and hopefully it is nothing more serious than a cut.
Well, Hunter, you know, when he wound up to take that slap shot, you know that there was a lot of velocity on that. And by by putting the stick down. It hit Pearson directly, and thank goodness that he's all right.
With the score, the New York Islanders 3, Edmonton 2. This is Stanley Cup 81.
Well, this is the time when the Oiler fans can certainly help out, getting that enthusiasm and that hollering and screaming back again. This second period has been all Islanders. They've only had 2 shots against their net. Al Arbor talked about we have to shut down the Oilers, do a better job of checking. They certainly have in this period.
Yes, the 17,000 plus in the Northlands Coliseum have been somewhat subdued since early in the first period. From the face-off, Semenko flips it to the corner to Gretzky. Gretzky fighting with it. With Lorimer. Now Semenko steps into Merrick as it's cleared to center ice. Hughes behind his back to Gretzky. Gretzky couldn't control it as it was knocked away by Merrick. Now it's Lorimer ahead to Merrick. For the Islanders, in across the line, a shot just wide, and he had Moog going the wrong way, but he missed the net. Now it's Gretzky on the wing to Hughes, cutting for the goal. Tied up by Stanley. Couldn't get a shot away. Picked up along the boards by Semenko. He bodies with Nystrom. Gretzky gets it in the corner. Gretzky dodging a check, but he has it taken away from him, and it's dumped out to center ice. Here's Nystrom racing after the loose puck, but Fogelin gets back first with 9:48 left in the second period. 3-2 is the score in favor of the Islanders. Potvin at his own line to Lorimer. Lorimer throwing it down the ice. Lowe gets it back ahead to Anderson, but Anderson was across the line offside.
Another out-of-town score, an update. The Sabres, on a goal by Van Boxmeer, have taken the lead. And there's just under 8 minutes left to go in that game. The Sabres have not won a game in that series, and they have their backs against the wall. I guess that's as good an explanation as we can give. Sometimes, though, that fourth game is the hardest one to win.
9:34 is the time left in this second period as Silden encircles in his own zone. Hagman, back pass for Anderson. Anderson having difficulty up the line, and it's poked away by Gillies. Hicks breaks up his pass. He brings it in to Messier. Messier, a shot! From an almost impossible angle.
Now, Messier got good wood on that, but you don't score from against the boards. Look at the play that Hicks makes here. Now watch where Messier shoots this one from. Let's look at Melanson. Now he's almost inside his crease area. I would think that he'd have to come out and challenge a little bit, cut down that angle, and that beat him to the far corner. And a good lucky break for the Oilers. Some chance that they never figured on scoring on.
Well, let's see if that gives Edmonton some life now. The fans have certainly come alive. Anderson is dumped by Potvin. The puck goes loose. Doring gets it around to the other side to Morrow. Ahead to Gillies. Gillies in across the line. He's content to shoot it into the corner. Messier is bodied. It goes loose, however, to Hagman. Hagman, his pass intercepted in the center ice area by Potvin, but it's picked up by Silverman. Silverman takes the shot, saved. Melanson loose in front, and it's cleared down the ice. Icing will be called against New York as Hicks touches it. With 8:30 left in the period. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in just a moment. Well, as you undoubtedly can hear, the fans have come to life again at the Northlands Coliseum.
Well, that's all it took was an Oiler goal to get these fans going, and the Oilers have responded. They're playing a little more inspired hockey.
Lane bringing it down for the Islanders. His shot at the goal mouth stopped by Moog. 8:16 is the time left in the second period. The score is tied at 3. It was 2-2 at the end of the first period. Now it's for Riviere in his own zone to Lumley. Lumley tries to leave it there. Intercepted by Bossy. He gets it ahead to Bourne. Following up on the play, Trottier unable to poke a free. Now Lumley falls in the center ice area. It's picked up in his own zone by Trotman. Ahead to Bourne. Bourne streaking in on the left side. Feeding it over to Bossy now, and Bossy had it go in his skates. He couldn't get a shot away. Under almost flipped it in front of his own net onto the stick of Bourne. It's pulled free. Going back to the goal is for Riviere. Riviere, rink wide to Unger. Unger switched hands as he took that pass. Now he takes the shot. Saved by Mellinsford. Lorimer in the corner. Tempo with that goal by Edmonton, picking up in the second period as it's dumped in by New York. Stanley back to Merrick. Shot! Just wide in the far corner. Lorimer takes the shot. It goes wide. Picked up along the boards by Merrick. To the line. Landsman had it pushed away. Somebody tried to break out. And we have a penalty and an offside call as well. Live from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, the Stanley Cup playoff. Andy Moog was leaving the goal crease and heading for the bench.
Very fortunate. He was out of there about 20 feet heading for the bench. He thought that Dave Newell was signaling a penalty against the Islanders. That was not the case.
That was a delayed offside call, and Moog had left the goal heading for the bench. Here's Lane with a drive. It hit a leg in front of the net, picked up in the corner by Callaghan. Too low, and Lowe dumps it down the ice. Morrow is back for New York to Merrick. Merrick shoots it in. It's knocked down by Lowe. Cleared out to center ice again. Merrick has to wait for Nystrom to get back onside before firing it in. Now it's Lowe up along the boards to Curry. Rink-wide pass intended for Callaghan, broken up by Morrow. An alert play by the New York defenseman. Good forechecking here by New York as Edmonton is having trouble getting organized. Now here's a chance, the 2-on-1 break. Left shot, score! What a drive by Tonelli.
Well, this line here of Tonelli, Nystrom, and Merrick were all over Gretzky's line. Again, the Oilers leaving the zone. Fogelin was trying to go offensively. Somebody has to cover up for him. And then Tonelli lets that shot go. Possibly Kevin Lowe was screening on the play, but when you rattle it off the goalpost and it goes in, you deserve it. He really picked that corner. So John Tonelli has given the lead, and that's his first goal of the playoffs. 3-2 or 4-3 now for the Islanders.
6 minutes left in the second period. Long lead pass intended for Howlett, too far. He races in back at the goal. He's bodied. It goes loose. Kept in at the line by Langevin. Now it's picked off by Anderson to Messier. Messier going to the left side. Same spot he scored from earlier. Unable to get a shot away this time. He's bodied by Lorimer. I think Lorimer fell on top of the puck. Will have a face-off in the New York zone.
Well, a good move by Coach Al Arbour getting Lane into the lineup. He assisted on the play to Tonelli. So there isn't anything wrong with getting a shot on net because you never know what will happen. But Tonelli really wound up and took that slap shot. But let's remember, again, another defensive lapse there by the Oilers. When Fogelin took the puck out of the zone, somebody had to be back there to cover up. Tonelli actually had a man with him going down that right side. It was a 2-on-1 break against Kevin Lowe. Elected to shoot and got his first goal of the playoffs.
Well, when Clark Gillies told us last night that this team was going to be more aggressive, more physical, and skate harder tonight, he certainly knew what he was talking about. Because they have been much more aggressive than they were last evening.
Well, they arise to the occasion. Remember, they're the defending Cup champions. They know what it takes to win. They've been there before. It's something that the Oilers haven't been able to do, or they've never accomplished yet as Stanley Cup winners.
Trottier shoots it in for the Islanders, then goes to the bench for a change. Up along the boards. Gary Unger lost control of it. It's loose. Here's a chance for Howlett. Quick shot. And the save is made by Moe. Silverman goes back of his own goal. Rink-wide pass for Hughes. Hughes couldn't get a stick on it. In the center ice area, Unger is spun around, and Carroll bangs it down the ice. 5 minutes now remaining in this second period. 4-3 is the score in favor of the Islanders. Sutter just got a piece of Hunter as he attempted the body check. Hunter got a shot away. Stopped by Melanson, and it's cleared down the ice.
You know, Melanson has left some good rebounds there, but the Islanders have done a good job of picking up that trailer coming in.
In across the line, Coffey playing it to the corner for Gretzky. Gretzky in back of the net. Callaghan controlling it for Edmonton. Giving it back to the goal again to Gretzky. Gretzky out front. It's shot by Curry. He didn't get good wood on it, and it just trickled to the goal mouth. Now it's Sutter along the boards, upended by Callaghan. Curry falls. And I think we've got a penalty coming up as Sutter and Curry do some shoving. I believe Sutter will be going off.
Well, he applied the hook to Curry. Curry actually had an excellent chance of coming right out in front of the net. Sutter certainly prevented that, and then everybody getting their 2 cents worth in there.
Well, they still haven't settled the issue, as Gary Howitt now has a few words. I think in a little hassle like this, if I was Glenn Sather, I'd want Gretzky as far away as possible. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Dwayne Sutter in the penalty box. They haven't given the call yet. I believe it is a hook. You see him take Curry down, and Curry was about to cut for the front of the net. So the Oilers, a power play.
4:15 left in the period. The puck comes to the line, kept in by Coffey. He did a good job of playing that high flip shot back to the line. He gets it in to Gretzky. Gretzky controlling it. In the corner, looking for someone. Callaghan back to the net. Curry had been breaking for the net, but he was tied up by Potvin. Gretzky was looking for him.
The Islanders are challenging a lot more in this game in their own zone. They're not allowing the Oilers to set up. But you have to have that puck movement. The players that don't have the puck get in the clear.
Gretzky has it knocked away from him by Potvin. It goes to the corner. Picked up along the boards by Bourne, and Bourne simply dumps it to the neutral zone. Now it's Coffey. Back for the Oilers. Coffey, lead pass for Gretzky. Gretzky in across the line. Gretzky feeding it to Callaghan. He couldn't get his stick on it. It comes back to the point to Curry. Curry to Silverman. Silverman over to the other side to Coffey. Into the corner. Gretzky. Back to Coffey. Over to Silverman. Silverman to Curry. Curry circling. Back to Coffey. They tried to feed it into Curry, and it's broken up by Goring. Goring, a lead pass too far for Carroll with 38 seconds left in the penalty. The Oilers moving the puck around well, but unable to get a shot away. Carroll trying to force the face-off. However, it's stolen away by Coffey. Lead pass for Gretzky. Working against Morrow. Gretzky putting on the brakes, dumping it back. Anderson wide. Now Fogelin playing it in back of the goal. Picked up there by Messier. Messier cutting in front. Just 10 seconds left in the penalty. Back to Fogelin. Fogelin had it knocked away by Bourne. Here's Bourne trying to break away. He's knocked down by Fogelin.
Good defensive play by Lee Fogelin, because once Bourne would have got by him, he was home free.
The Islanders back at full strength as Messier brings it in. Slap shot high up into the crowd. Just 2:06 left in this second period. 4-3, the Islanders leading.
Bobby Smith scored with 1 minute and 6 seconds left to go in regulation time, and they are going to sudden death. A tough break for the Buffalo Sabres, but that will be sudden death overtime. You know, it's good to pass that puck around in the power play, but you do have to get some shots. And by getting those shots, that loosens things up a little bit, and there's always a possibility of that rebound. Converge on the net. You shoot it from the point, have somebody going for that rebound, somebody getting in front of that net.
Something that was apparent in that power play, the Oilers had nobody in front of that goal.
They're outside the perimeter. The Islanders have that box going, and if they were going to shoot, it would have been from outside. Well, that's all right, but get guys going for that net. So they got Semenko out there to try to cause some problems.
It's Langevin in the corner. He almost lost it to Hughes. Now Stanley brings it out. Shooting it into the Edmonton zone. Nystrom in the corner. Moles well out of his net. Merrick along the boards. Trying to poke it free. It's picked up by the Oilers. Up along the boards intended for Hughes. Kept in by New York. In the corner it's Stanley. Along the boards to Nystrom. Nystrom lost control of it. And Semenko starts out. Semenko with a long shot. Hughes racing in. Along the boards trying to center it. It's intercepted by Nystrom. Nystrom at his own line. Almost lost it there to Hagman. Nystrom still having some difficulty gaining control, and as he tried to flip it into the Edmonton zone, it went over the boards and out of play. 1:17 is the time left in the period. The Islanders leading the Oilers 4-3.
Well, when you look at the Islanders, you think of Bossy, Trottier, Potvin on defense. But the name of Bob Nystrom always comes up, and he supplies that punch out there. That is always a good move by Glenn Sather to get number 27, Semenko, out against him.
Now it's Potvin. Boy, has he seen a lot of ice time tonight. Silton in the corner. Tried to feed it up along the boards to Callaghan. Slipped around to the other side. Some good offensive zone body checking by the Islanders. And they force a face-off with Trottier bumping along the boards with Yeri Curry. To find out what we'll see between periods, let's join John Wells.
Okay, Don, our second intermission tonight features a brief news report from Toronto, a chat with Diane Jones-Konahowski, and a playoff update on scores in the quarterfinals tonight.
Yes, Diane Jones-Konahowski, the star of the Commonwealth Games in Edmonton. We'll be talking, I'm sure, about the upcoming Canada Summer Games to be held in Thunder Bay early in August. And the CBC has extensive coverage of that event planned. Now in across the line, Callaghan. However, Edmonton is offside with 44 seconds left in the second period.
Well, after that first period where the Oilers had control of that blue line, Islanders not really challenging. They have changed that part of their game and starting to stand up a lot better. But basically, the Oilers are a team that thrive on carrying the puck over the blue line and then setting up their passing plays. They don't like to shoot it in. So when that happens, you want to disrupt that kind of flow. Trottier, though, I'm really impressed. You know, you talk, what makes a good goal scorer? It's when the opportunity is there to take advantage of it. Remember how he took the puck away from Messier, had his head up, picked the corner, fired it home. An opportunist, but he takes the man. That's the big thing.
One occasion in last night's game where he was hit twice in the corner. Two solid body checks. He stood on his feet and was able to control the puck.
Great balance.
Good move by Potvin at his own line. He shoots it in. They fight for it in the corner and finally force a face-off. Some shoving going on there involving Hunter and Bossy.
I'm sure that Mike Bossy will be glad when this series is over. He's seen enough of Dave Hunter. Potvin got a little fancy. It does a little zippity-doo between his legs, but I guess if there's a weakness in Wayne Gretzky's game, it's not being able to check that well. You notice how he skated away from Potvin instead of really going right at him. But I talked to Glenn Sather about that. He said, we really don't care what Gretzky does defensively. I don't even care if he comes in his own zone. We want him to score goals. That's what he's paid for, and he does that better than anybody else. Case is closed.
No further discussion on that one. 32 seconds left in this second period. 4-3, the Islanders leading. It was 2-2 after the first period. In the corner, Kevin Lowe up along the boards to Hunter. Hunter gets it up to center ice. Here's a break for Hughes. He was unable to control it as he came in on the left side. Potvin gets back. He's bodied by Hughes. It goes loose. Hunter trying to feed it out front. Potvin falls on top of it and holds it for a face-off.
You know, you got to give Hughes a lot of credit. He sat most of that first period on the bench. That's the hardest thing to do for a player, sit, and then the coach will say, all right, go out there and show us something. You know, the legs, they don't feel the same. They feel tight. You can't get them moving. But Hughes has responded in this period, and it has been exciting to watch, and he's made things happen out there. A good check against Potvin.
17 seconds remaining in the period. They'll perform that face-off again in the Islanders' zone.
Again, Trottier, he has his men lined up the way he wants them. And he doesn't go in that face-off till everybody's ready in their position.
It's brought out by Nystrom. Bourne trying to catch up with the play. Nystrom dumps it into the corner. He's bodied by Fogelin. Lowe goes back at the goal, up along the boards to Hunter. 4 seconds left in the period. To Unger, a long shot is caught by Melanson as the siren sounds to end period 2.
Andy Moog was busy. He gave up a couple of goals in that period. Melanson didn't have many shots against him. In fact, only 6. But the Oilers are in it. They kept their poise, even though they fell behind a couple of times. Should be a good third period.
And so the score at the end of the second period, the New York Islanders 4, Edmonton 3.
Back in a moment, right after this important gronk.
Well, we've been taking a look at that action in Calgary, and the Flames leading 3-1. And they could wrap it up when they return to Philadelphia on Wednesday night. But, Gary, you'll be back there for that game, and the Flyers are very tough in the Spectrum.
Yes, they are, but the big story, of course, is Pat Reagan.
Reagan in his 3rd straight game for the Flames here at the Northlands Coliseum. The score was tied at 2 after 1. And Trottier stealing the puck inside the Edmonton line. A power play goal. Messier, who gave it up, got it back for Edmonton. And then John Tonelli, after stealing it in the center ice area from Wayne Gretzky, has moved the Islanders into a 4-3 lead. And the Islanders had a big edge in play in that second period.
Yes, they did. And always the sign of a good hockey club that are able to capitalize on mistakes. The Oilers made a couple of dandies there, and the Islanders put them home. So we look for a strong period by the Oilers to pick it up and do some forechecking and get those shots on net.
I think it's safe to assume that the Islanders will play it rather cautious and be quite patient in this final period as well, nursing that 1-goal lead. The Oilers are forced to take the chances. Fogelin in across the line. A shot is caught by Melanson. He drops it back at the goal. Langevin up along the boards. The Islanders dump it to center ice. Fogelin plays it back in. It's brought out by Langevin. Over to Bossy. Bossy breaking for the goal. He's tied up. The 2 players, Lowe and Bossy, go down as Unger goes back of his own net. Up on the wing for Lumley. Ahead to Hunter. Hunter dodging a check from Merrick, shooting it into the New York zone. 4-3 the score. The Islanders leading Edmonton. Game 4 of the quarterfinal. The Islanders leading the series 2-1. Potvin, long shot. Moog steers that to the corner. Nystrom was taken into the goalpost by Messier. Nystrom appears to be all right. He got up a little slowly. He's going to go to the bench. I think he's hurt. Now it's Merrick taking a pass across 2 lines, and the Islanders are called in the offside.
Well, the way Nystrom plays, it's a wonder that he didn't do damage on the goalpost.
Well, we're going to Calgary again. There's more action at the Stampede Corral. Let's take a look at it.
Well, one thing the Flyers are always noted for is they're a team that will battle. Watch the Flyers with Billy Barber putting it in front of the net, and Rick McLeish standing to the side puts it home. They'll battle to the very end. The deflection, and the Flyers have narrowed that lead by the Flames to 1. It is now 3-2 Calgary over the Flyers early in the third period.
Well, you see Bob Nystrom being treated at the New York bench. He was really rammed into that goalpost as he lost his balance and breaking for the Edmonton net when checked by Messier. Lead pass intended for Messier in the center ice area. Too far for him. Lorimer back of his own net. Icing is called against Edmonton. From the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, this is Stanley Cup 81. Bob Nystrom at the New York bench. However, it seems that he will be able to take his regular shift in this third period. Play in the Edmonton zone. Broken up by the Oilers. Risto Siltanen. Dumping a pass over for Messier. It hopped over his stick. Hagman picks it up in the corner to Messier, trying to position himself in front. And he lost it to Merrick, who brings it out. Merrick shoots it into the Edmonton zone. Going after it is Hicks. Hicks back of his own goal. Gets away from Tonelli. Ahead to Messier. Messier in across the line for the Oilers to the corner, centering it. And Hagman could not catch up with the play. Now at center ice, Anderson falls. Gets it ahead to Hagman. Hagman feeding it to Messier. Trying to get it out to Hicks, and it was knocked down by Merrick. Rink wide, Tonelli. Tonelli ahead to Howitt. Howitt tied up there by Hicks, who came back very quickly, and Riviere winds up behind his own net. On the right side to Curry, to Gretzky. In across the line, Gretzky, who is being checked very, very close tonight by the Islanders, had it knocked away. Gretzky has not had the room to maneuver tonight like he had last evening, Gary.
No, and a good play by the Islanders. Love to concentrate more on that and take them at every opportunity. We have an update, and that is the final. So the Rangers go ahead 3-1. That final goal was scored by Vickers. He got 2 goals in that game. Duguay and Edmonton. So the Rangers 1 game away from getting into the semis.
Here's a shot from the face-off by Sutter. It's high and wide. Hotband takes the shot. It's knocked down. The Oilers dump it ahead to Gretzky in the center ice area, but Clark Gillies got back to take it away from him. Now Morrow comes out of the New York zone. Lead pass too far for Butch Goring. Icing will be called. No, they don't touch it. Siltanen overskated it. However, it's brought back out by Gretzky. Gretzky across the line to Callaghan. He couldn't control it. He picks up the loose puck again. However, takes the shot. Melanson with the save. In the corner, Callaghan and Morrow fighting for it. Goring is also there. Gretzky gets it. Backhand shot. Saved by Melanson as Gretzky cut right out in front of the net. Now into Curry in the slot. He had it knocked off his stick by Gillies. The puck goes loose in the corner. And finally, it's played off the boards and out by Sutter. Gary LaRiviere in across the line. Takes a shot at the side of the net. Melanson plays it in the corner for Lorimer. Up along the wing, but it's kept in by Lumley. Lumley in the corner, fighting with Bob Bourne. Lumley is knocked down. The puck goes loose. Goring has it for the Islanders. It hits the referee as the Islanders were unable to get it out. Now Bossy gains control for New York. Bossy being pestered by Hunter. Hunter's done a most effective job of checking him in this series, as he did against Guy Lafleur in the Montreal series. Now it's Unger in the center ice area. Block shot! Melanson almost had it get away from him. Hunter playing it back to the net to Lumley. Lumley out front, trying to jam it in, and it's cleared by Lorimer. The Oilers have been applying some pressure. Lumley now in the corner. Lumley back to the line. Fogeland's shot just goes wide. At the line, Lowe takes the shot right on in the save by Melanson. He was screened. Here's Unger, backhand shot. It hit a leg and went to the corner. And finally, it's cleared off a stick and into the crowd.
Tremendous pressure by the Oilers. They've got their forechecking going, and they're coming up with some good scoring chances because of that.
Well, Game 5 in this series takes place Wednesday night at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. We advise you to check your local listings for the telecast time in your area. And this will be the game to be seen on the national network. The Calgary Flames at Philadelphia in Game 5 of that series, and that game will be seen in the Calgary area.
shifts. That's so very important now for the Oilers because they have to try to get that equalizer, but get everybody going. Nobody standing still.
The crowd reacting there as Risto Siltanen slapped it in, and it almost hit the referee, Dave Newell. Siltanen flips it back into the New York zone. Potvin behind his own goal as he logged a lot of ice time in tonight's game. Merrick ahead to Tonelli. It went off his stick in the center ice area. Anderson bringing it in. Centering it. Knocked down by Potvin. Anderson gets it again. Back into the slot. Siltanen's shot. Hit Tonelli and goes to the corner. The puck is loose in the New York zone. It's brought out by Tonelli. In across the Edmonton line. Centering it. Nystrom could not catch up with it. Back comes Messier for the Edmonton Oilers. In across the line. He drops it for Hagman. Over to the other side for Hicks. Hicks flips it into the corner. Races in after it. He and Morrow bump in the corner. The puck goes loose. They tried to play it back to the line, but it's picked off by Tonelli. A loose puck in the center ice area. Here's Callaghan in across the line. Slap shot and the glove saved by Melanson. There's a penalty coming up against Gord Lane as he dumped Callaghan in the corner. Callaghan protesting, or Lane protesting, but to no avail. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
The chant is go Oilers go! Go Oilers go as Gord Lane sits in the penalty box on the tripping call. I think the Oilers have to make an adjustment on this power play. They're moving the puck, but they're outside the box that the Islanders have had, and it would be a good idea to move somebody in that slot area. That'll close up the box so that the Oilers can get that shot from the point. They have to start taking some shots.
Well, they've made an adjustment. They have Curry back on the point along with Coffey. Anderson is up front with Callaghan and Gretzky. Potvin gets control and plays it off the boards and down the ice. 13:36, the time left in the hockey game. New York in front. The defending Stanley Cup champions leading 4-3. Lead pass too far for Gretzky, and it's fired back into the Edmonton zone by New York. The Islanders have done quite a job in tonight's hockey game in killing off those Edmonton power play chances. Here's Coffey bringing it in, working to the corner, playing it back to the line now to Gretzky. Gretzky drops it over to Anderson. It's a score! Callaghan in front of the net.
The power play has proved to be a weapon used by both teams. Paul Coffey just out-muscles Potvin for the puck. Now Gretzky goes to work, setting up Anderson. Now what Anderson's doing is directing it at the net. Callaghan has perfect position. Nobody in there to take him out of the play. And he just deflects the puck past Melanson. The movement and the deflection. Now that's something that the Oilers wanted to do all night. Get a man in that area. They haven't been able to do it. So a little adjustment. They tie this game on the power play. That's 2 for each side.
Wayne Gretzky draws an assist. He now has 18 playoff points. To this hockey game, the Oilers coming back to tie it here in the third on the power play. Trotke with the long shot. Back of the goal goes Kevin Lowe. We've got a penalty coming up here to the Edmonton Oilers, Dave Hunter. Let's go to Calgary right now. More action at the Stampede Corral.
Well, Bobby Clark, who leads the Flyers in many ways. He hasn't had that good of a playoff, but by golly, if you want a guy to get you back in the game, count on number 16. Look at the second effort where Clark stretches out, cool, calm, and just stuffs it home. That game is tied now in Calgary at 3.
It's tied here at the Northlands Coliseum at 4, but we'll get to witness the most effective power play in the National Hockey League in this 1980-81 season. New York Islanders scored more power play goals during regular season play than any other team, and they have continued to strike with the man advantage in the playoffs.
Well, Hunter, again, a hooking call, not a good penalty to take, and, you know, you think teams would think about this, Whit, because the bad penalties have resulted in goals against you.
Now Gary Unger goes to the Edmonton bench to get a new stick.
Remember, Stefan Persson was hit in the face area with a puck. He has not seen any action since then. So the Islanders have used Goring back on the point along with Potvin.
Persson on the power play, one of their effective performers. Now in the corner, Bossy posted play to Gillies. Back to the line to Potvin. Potvin into Gillies. Gillies tried to center it. It was knocked down by Kevin Lowe. Gillies gets it again, and Lowe gets it, but he is unable to clear it. Potvin over to Goring. Goring to Bossy. Bossy back at the net to Trottier. Ryan Trottier back to Bossy. Bossy. Backhand shot just missing the far corner. Messier has lost his stick. Goring gets it out to Potvin. Moving in. A shot. As he dropped that one out of the top corner. Once again, there's more action at the Stampede Corral. Gary, bring us up to date.
The Calgary Flames gets that one back. A deflection, a lot of action in front of the net, and Randy Holt, an unexpected score. It seems the only time Holt plays is when Holmgren is out there. Look at him in that slot area, and he just puts it up in the top shelf, and the Calgary Flames have regained the lead. Randy Holt.
They're in overtime in the game between Buffalo and Minnesota, with the score tied at 4 there. It's tied at 4 here at the Northlands Coliseum. Messier unable to get it out. They bang away at it. At the line, Messier finally gets it down the ice. 57 seconds left in the penalty to Hunter. Potvin, a shot. What a wicked drive as it ricocheted off the glass. Goring at the line. Gretzky is out there killing off this penalty. Picked up by Oberlin. Here's a chance for Gretzky with just Goring back. Gretzky gets around in. Going in, and he shot it wide. The puck came off the back boards, and Anderson almost raced in and got it. Melanson is hurt. The puck loose. Coffey now losing it at his own line to Bossy. Bossy has it poked away by Anderson. Anderson unable to clear it. Bossy keeps it in to Trottier. A shot and a save by Mold. What action on this power play. 14 seconds left in the penalty. It appeared as though Roland Melanson was hurt when Anderson collided with him, but apparently he's going to be able to continue. He was just shaken up.
Couple of great individual efforts. Goring was back all alone, and that is a terrible position to be in, especially with Gretzky carrying the puck. He did a good job of stopping him. Look at Anderson, that effort, trying to pick up that loose puck, went right over Melanson. And then at the other end, Andy Mold just stoned Trottier from point-blank range. This has all the earmarks of another tremendous game. From start to finish, skating, hitting, everything that you would want in a playoff competition.
Two young goaltenders performing well tonight. One of them having just reached his 21st birthday. The other a couple of months away. The Riviere tried to play it off the boards, and it went up into the crowd.
No, John, even though both goaltenders have given up 4 goals, they have been spectacular because the chances that the teams have been good scoring chances. But those 2 mistakes in the second period kind of deflated the Oilers, but they have come out in this third period with reckless abandon. And in fact, they lead the shot total now by 1, 27-26.
3 seconds left in the penalty to Hunter. As we approach the midway point of the third period, the score is tied at 4. Game 4 of the quarterfinal round. New York leading 2 games to 1. Game 5 back in New York on Wednesday night, and you'll see it on the CBC television network. Wherever you're looking in this evening across the country, I hope you're enjoying this one. Unger dumping it down the ice as Hunter steps out of the penalty box. Lane has to go back into his own zone. Lane with a shot that hits the stick, goes wide of the goal. Picked up in the corner by LaRiviere. He's bodied by Nystrom. Riviere kicks it back to Coffey. Coffey shot, and LaRiviere came sliding out to block it. Well, that's the move that Coffey has employed a couple of times. It's worked effectively, but on that occasion, it almost backfired, Gary.
A good second effort there by LaRiviere to block that shot. That's teamwork again. One guy makes a mistake, the other guy covers up.
Nystrom back to the net, trying to center it. Stanley was being tied up in front of the goal by Hicks. Now it's Callaghan, rink wide, to Curry. He has Gretzky with him. However, a good defensive play by Dennis Potvin stopped Curry. And it's cleared down the ice by Lorimer. No icing on the play. Risto Siltanen trying to get away from Carroll. Siltanen flipping it in. It's knocked down at the line by Potvin. Racing after it is Howlett. However, the Edmonton player got to it first. Now, in the center ice area, the puck goes loose. It's finally knocked into the New York zone, and Lorimer is back with 9 minutes remaining in the third period. The score tied at 4. Sutter plays it to an open left wing. Carroll catches up with it, then runs into Anderson as it's played into the Edmonton zone. Ball back of his net. He is fighting for it with Sutter, and they hold it against the boards for a face-off. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. Gary Howlett coming off to the New York bench, and we should correct the statement we made a few minutes ago that this fifth game between New York and Edmonton would be the national telecast on Wednesday night. That decision has not yet been made as to which game will be televised nationally, so we advise you to check the listings to see which game will be seen in your area. A long drive from the point by Langevin, kicked out by Moog as Hunter gets it to Unger in the center ice area. He deflected it to the line, and Lumley very nearly broke in. Hunter will try it again to Unger. Unger has it between his skates. He didn't know where the puck was, and it's brought back by New York. Now it's Trottier trying to go around Fogelin. A penalty is coming up against the Edmonton Oilers. Lee Fogelin. With the score, the New York Islanders 4 and Edmonton 4. This is Stanley Cup 81.
Lee Fogelin in the penalty box. A tough time to take a penalty, but he really took out Trottier. He's coming down the wing, grabbed a hold. I don't think you could really complain about that. The fans objected, but it was a good call by Dave Newell.
Back to the line. Corn with a shot. Block save by Moog. They will have another face-off. Again, we return to the Stampede in Calgary for this action.
Well, watch Poplinski. He has tremendous strength. Grab a hold of the puck. Randy Holt, number 7, all alone. Lets the shot go. And by golly, Randy Holt has 2 goals, but some good, strong work by Jim Poplinski for Randy Holt. And the Flames have taken a 5-3 lead. But who's in front? Willie Plett.
Meanwhile, back at the Northlands Coliseum, the score tied at 4, 1:45 left in the penalty to Lee Fogelin.
Are we looking at overtime? You have a habit of every telecast you're involved in, we go into overtime.
Well, we had double overtime in Chicago the other night. Last year, we had that double overtime here at the Coliseum involving Philadelphia.
Well, if the Oilers can kill off this penalty.
It was blocked in front by Dennis Potvin. Now Brian Trottier gets it ahead to Gillies, the big fella. Dodging a couple of checks. He wants the breakaway. Messier going in alone. He shoots. Saved by Melanson. What a chance Mark Messier had. 1:20 left in the penalty left in the game. 1 minute in the penalty. Gretzky steals it inside the line. Gretzky spun around by Bourne. He still has it. Going in. He's got hit by Trottier, and there's a penalty coming up to New York. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in a moment.
Trottier leading this club with 9 goals so far in the playoffs. A hooking penalty against number 9, Wayne Gretzky, but Gretzky again able to elude all kinds of checkers. First Bob Bourne, then Dennis Potvin, but on this occasion, Trottier finally hauls him down. Both teams continue to take penalties.
Along the boards, Messier having difficulty there with Lorimer. Stanley comes in to help out, but coming back is Anderson. Anderson has to go to the neutral zone and then back into his own zone over to LaRiviere. LaRiviere around the boards to Anderson. He was having some difficulty controlling it. LaRiviere goes back of his own goal. On the wing to Coffey. Messier comes off. Gretzky goes on. Coffey with a quick shot. It's kicked up into the crowd by Roland Melanson.
Well, there's one of the reasons that the Oilers, Coach Glenn Sather, likes his defensemen to get involved with that offensive flow. You know, you have a guy like Coffey who handles the puck so well. Siltanen, once he got a hold of it right from his own blue line, was able to cross that blue line, let that good wrist shot go. Almost fooled Melanson, but he was able to deflect it in the crowd. Again, though, as long as somebody covers up when that defenseman goes.
Well, I wonder if Mark Messier is still thinking about that breakaway he had with Vogelin in the penalty box.
It looked like he was trying to put it through the legs of Melanson, and Melanson just closed him up at the last second to make that save.
Tremendous poise by a 20-year-old goaltender on that breakaway. 18 seconds left in the penalty to Vogelin. 1:27 remaining in the sentence to Brian Trottier. The Oilers will have a man advantage for about a minute and 9 seconds. Now it's a rink-wide pass for Lorimer. He deflects it into the Edmonton zone. Coffey bumps him off the puck. Back of the goal. Up on back at full strength now. Here's Anderson coming out of his own zone. Ahead to Gretzky. Gretzky into the slot. It hit a leg as Anderson was doing a job of screening in front. It dumped the center ice area. Silverman moves in across the line to Callaghan. Callaghan got the tying goal here in this third period. Silverman tried to play it back to the point. Here's a race for the loose puck. Back takes it away from him. 37 seconds left in the penalty. Lead pass for Gretzky. Gretzky ahead to Curry. It went off his stick and is fired back into the Edmonton zone. Now it's Risto Silverman back of his own goal. Ahead to Callaghan. Callaghan in across the line. His pass bounced off the leg. Rolling to the goal. The ice. I don't think the Oilers will be able to mount another attack before Trottier gets back in the ice. Ahead to Callaghan. Callaghan over to Curry. Loses it. Picked up by Goring. Goring goes to the corner with it. He's taken out of the play back of the net by Hicks. The Islanders are back at bumped and knocked down by Morrow. Now it's Trottier going behind his own goal. 5 minutes remaining in the game to Bossy. Bossy to Trottier, cutting in. He shoots, and it's deflected by Moog. Gretzky gets it ahead to Curry. Curry in across the line. Looking for Gretzky. Plays it back to the line, but it's broken up by Bossy. Bossy for New York. Drop pass. Kelly shot. Kevin Lowe started out with it, but the play had been whistled down. Live from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, apparently apparently with the noise of the crowd, none of Newell had blown the whistle.
And the Oilers started to take it up the ice, and finally Dave Newell blew that whistle and halted play. But it becomes a very touchy. Seven left. The shots are even. The score is even. The mistakes in your own zone are very critical at this stage of the game.
4:37, the time left in regulation play. New York Rangers 4. And Buffalo in overtime. And Calgary is leading Philadelphia 5-3 in the third. Pass on the left side. Under slap shot. Glove by Melanson. Langevin plays it up along the boards to Gillies. To Merritt. He's bodied off the puck. Vogelin has to wait for Lumley to vacate the offensive zone. Then shoots it in. Now along the boards. Unger in front of the net. Lumley is knocked down. The play whistled down. The fans reacting, feeling there should have been a penalty. But referee Newell simply blew the whistle because he had lost sight of the puck as it went underneath Lumley.
Well, the tempo and the hitting continues. Unger just tries to throw a puck for Lumley, who is positioned in front. A good check, knocking Lumley off the puck.
Spectators at tonight's game, the Golden Girl, the star of the 78 Commonwealth Games, Diane Jones-Konahowski. To her right, her husband John, who plays with the Edmonton Eskimos, Grey Cup champions, and Bruce Walker, who is chairman of the Canada Summer Games to be held in Thunder Bay in the month of August. As we mentioned earlier, CBC has extensive coverage of that event planned. Fired into the Edmonton zone. Messier almost lost it there to Nystrom. Now it's Hagman bringing it out. Hagman has his pass knocked down at the line by Morrow. The Oilers regroup at center ice. Deflected in by Messier. Brought back out by Potvin. Now it's Anderson back at his own line to LaRiviere. He lost it. Flipped it up to the line. It went off Hagman. He got it ahead to Coffey. Coffey with Messier. And Messier put himself offside. Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Interesting strategy here by Sather. Trotschy's line came out. Normally it's Young or Hunter and Unger out there. Only Hunter comes out. Gretzky and Curry remain on the ice.
Here's a chance for Gretzky in across the line. He tried to set up Hunter, and it was broken up by Trottier, who did a good job of covering up. It's cleared down the ice by New York, and the icing charge against the Islanders will produce a face-off back in their zone with 3:08 left in regulation play.
The coach, Glenn Sather, along with assistant Billy Harris with the headset on. Time running out. We may be headed for another overtime game. But aren't you amazed the amount of ice time that Wayne Gretzky has? I mean, he's been double shifted the whole night. Power play, penalty killing. Keep that kid out there. Good to be young, isn't it?
Yes, with 164 regular season points and 18 in the playoffs, they need him out there. A shot by Hicks was broken up by Trottier, and he's seen a lot of ice time as well. And, of course, he's the leader of this Islander team. Now it's Hunter across the line. Shot. Melanson makes the save. Morrow back of the goal. Tied up there by Curry. Gretzky gets it. Flips it off the glove of Melanson. He was at the side of the net, an almost impossible angle, but he took the shot, and Melanson had to flip it off the far post. Now it's Hunter. Back of the goal to Siltanen. Siltanen is upset by Howard. Bossy keeps it in. Bossy feeding it across the goal mouth. There's nobody there. Hunter goes back to the goal now. Starting out on the right side. Playing it in, back of the goal. Gretzky racing after it. Melanson playing it up along the boards. The Oilers were caught making a change with 2:13 left in the game. Lumley shoots it in. on the boards. Lumley trying to keep it in, forcing a face-off in the New York zone, and he succeeds in doing just that. 2:01, the time left in the game. Again, let's go to the Stampede Corral in Calgary. Gary, what's happening?
Well, we've got some more action in a guy that has always been a top performer for the Flyers, Billy Barber. What an individual effort he made there, cutting through the seam at the blue line, letting that wrist shot go, and the Flyers have moved to within one. It is now 5-4 Calgary in the third period. That must be getting late in the third period.
Well, it's getting late for some of our viewers on the national network. It's already tomorrow in some parts of the country. Here's Callaghan, a shot to save by Melanson. Back of the goal. Played up along the boards, kept in by Fogle and center. And Unger just failed to deflect it. Now the Islanders bring it out. Trottier in across the line and offside with Butch Goring.
What a great job by Lee Fogelin to get back and break up that play at the blue line. He was caught down ice, put his head down, and just came back, and he was able to deflect that puck into the corner, cause the offside. Look at Lee coming across there. You can't beat effort. Talent isn't the only thing that you have to have. You have to have that heart. You have to have that desire to win and achieve.
Since they adorned his jersey with that big C, he has certainly played well in taking over the captaincy of the Oilers. He's one of the veterans, and he's been a leader out there for this team. He brings it in, going back to the net. He's bodied heavily, falls to the ice with Langevin. The puck is loose in the New York zone. Unger gets it in front of the net. Just failed to deflect it as he was being tied up by Langevin. Here's a chance for Lumley. A shot, it's knocked down and brought out by Stanley. A 3-on-2 break. Stanley centering it, and Sutter goes right to the goal mouth. He collides with Moog. No red light.
I mean, both of these teams have absolutely no fear whatsoever. So many times we've seen the puck carrier shoot the puck in the corner, go in there knowing he's going to get knocked off the puck. Watch Sutter. First game back. He's just coming off a serious shoulder injury. Slides with Moog, the goal post. That doesn't bother him a bit.
Well, Gretzky is coming back on the ice. Trying regulation time. The big gunners for both sides are going to be out there for the final minute and 10 seconds of regulation play.
I don't know. I think in a case like this, I might try Mark Messier on the faceoff rather than a Wayne Gretzky. He's going against Trottier, one of the best.
Hunter had gone to the bench. Now he comes back out. Trottier with Gillies and Bossy. Back in the line, it's Potvin and Morrow. From the face-off, Gillies drops it back. Potvin shot. Went off the stick of Gretzky. In the corner, it's Bossy looking for Gillies out front. Bossy going back to the goal. Moving in front, a shot and a save by young Andy Moog. Here come the Oilers with 55 seconds remaining. Gretzky in across the line, over on the wing for Messier. Messier tried to feed it in front, and it hit the side of the net. Now it's Trottier slowly moving out on the right side to Potvin. Potvin shoots it in. 40 seconds remaining in regulation time. Back at the goal goes Coffey. 19-year-old defenseman comes out for Edmonton. Over to Hunter. Hunter looking for a pass. Curry got it there, and Curry took a backhand that went wide. Now it's Gillies for New York. To Merrick. Merrick shoots it in. Nystrom is racing in after it. Moog comes out of his net to play it. Merrick tried to center it. It's knocked down and kept in by Tonelli as Curry tried to dump it out. Finally, it's played off the boards to center ice. A long shot by Langevin, and we're going to be going into overtime. Coffey in the corner. The puck goes loose. There's the final buzzer, and we have overtime. overtime coming up at the Northlands Coliseum.
Well, I knew it that sooner or later, being with you, Don Whitman, that we'd end up with overtime. But by golly, folks, you have seen two teams demonstrate the ability to go out there and play 100% effort. I mean, we have seen it last night. We've seen it again tonight. The intensity that they played with, a credit to the Oilers, also the Islanders, the fans, the people, everybody. They're certainly getting their money's worth.
It has been a great series between these two. I'm sure many thought that when New York won 8-2 and 6-3 at the Nassau Coliseum on Thursday and Friday of last week, that the bubble had finally burst for the Edmonton Oilers, but the Oilers proved that they were for real, that their upset victory of the Montreal Canadiens was no fluke with their 5-2 win last night. Right now, let's take a look at that Buffalo-Minnesota overtime action and the winning goal.
Well, Van Boxmeer sets up Craig Ramsey, and he puts it home. That's at 16:32 of sudden death overtime. And a happy Buffalo Sabre Hockey Club on the brink of elimination. They're hanging tough. What would we say? That last game is sometimes the hardest game to win.
3-1, Minnesota now leading the series, with that series returning to Buffalo on Wednesday night. This is Stanley Cup 81 from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Back in a moment. After this important grog.
Well, it's 4-4 as we move into overtime here at the Coliseum. Checking the other scores, Calgary 5-4 over Philadelphia. Hislop, Poplinski, Lever, and Randy Holt with a pair scoring for Calgary. Holmgren, McLeish, Clark, and Barber for Philadelphia. Calgary now leads the series 3-1. The Rangers beat St. Louis 4-1. Goals by Hedberg, Duguay, Vickers, and Vickers again. Zook scoring for St. Louis. That series also 3-1 in favor of New York. And in overtime, the big goal by Van Boxmeer, or Craig Ramsey, I should say, set up by Van Boxmeer in overtime. 16:32, the time of the goal. Sauvé, Perreault, Hayworth, and Van Boxmeer also scoring for Buffalo. Cicerelli, Kristoff, Payne, and Smith for Minnesota. And Minnesota leads it 3-1. The next game to be seen on CBC television in the quarterfinal playoff round will either be Edmonton at New York Wednesday night or Calgary at Philadelphia also on Wednesday night. For viewers in the Edmonton area, you definitely will be able to see the Oiler game. However, as to which game will be televised nationally, a decision has not yet been made.
Well, to set the stage, the Islanders have played plenty of playoff games. In fact, in their history, 14 wins, 4 losses. Last year, they won 6 overtime games, only lost 1. The Oilers, on the other hand, last year against Philadelphia, 2 overtime games, they lost them both. But what pressure on those young kids, the goaltenders, because once the puck gets by them, that's all she wrote. The Oilers need this one. They want to tie this game at 2. This series at 2 games apiece.
Well, right now we would like to welcome the viewers in the Calgary area and in the rest of Alberta who are joining this telecast from the Northlands Coliseum, and this Edmonton crowd on its feet, attempting to encourage these young Oilers who fought from behind in the third period to tie it at 4. And, of course, they would like to even the series at 2 games apiece. They do not want to go back to New York trailing 3-1 Wednesday night.
The Oilers have been aggressive all night. They have thrown some good checks, some good hits, but the Islanders, on a couple of defensive lapses by the Oilers, capitalized 2 goals in that second period to grab the lead. But then Brett Callaghan on the power play tied it. And how often have we seen an overtime sudden death goal end up in the first couple of minutes of the overtime period?
Lorimer lead pass to Trottier. He deflected down into the Edmonton zone. Bowles leaves it there for Fogelman back of his own goal. Up on the boards now. Hunter having difficulty trying to get out. Hunter got it back to Lowe. It was brought back in by Lorimer offside.
As you look at both of these lineups, there are so many guys that could be the hero. I guess if you're going to point to somebody, it would have to be Brian Trottier, last year's MVP in the playoffs. But the Oilers have done a good job. Number 77, Gary Younger, playing some of his best hockey the last couple of games, has done a pretty good job against Trottier tonight.
Center ice pass intercepted by Gillies and dumped back into the Edmonton zone. Oh, back into his own zone, up along the boards. Lumley trying to get out of there. He does. That swing pass to Hunter, a long shot. Melanson steers back to the corner. Now at the line, it's kept in by Fogelin. No, he doesn't keep it in. It slid out apparently, and he brought it back in offside. We should point out that Stefan Persson, who was hit with a deflected puck off the stick of Dave Hunter in the second period, has been taken to hospital for further examination. It's feared that he may have suffered a broken jaw.
Mike Bossy, the prolific goal scorer that he is, game 3, and also in this game here, Dave Hunter of the Oilers has been all over him. That familiar song, Me and My Shadow, has been very prominent.
On the face-off, Anderson flips it in. Melanson stops it back of the goal for Potvin. He must be getting a little weary by now because he has been out there a lot tonight for New York. Now it's Hagman shooting it in. Morrow, back of his own goal. Ahead to Merrick to Nystrom. His pass in the center ice area, broken up by Edmonton. Puck loose. Nystrom gets it again. Almost lost it there to Hagman. Hicks and Nystrom bump each other. Puck goes loose, and starting out is Anderson. Anderson in across the line. Good move. He falls, and it's dumped back to center ice by Merrick. Risto Silverman moving back into his own zone. Pass over on the right side for Hagman. Hagman shoots it in and then goes to the bench as the Oilers make a change. Potvin almost lost it at the side of the net. Flips it high to Howitt, to Nystrom. And across the line, the Islanders making a change as Coffey goes back of his own goal. Coffey, a lead pass for Callaghan. He was looking for Gretzky, too far for him. It slides down into the Islander zone. Langevin back of the goal. Langevin up along the boards to Goring. Goring, rink wide, but Lorimer was unable to control it. The Islanders have to regroup. Langevin now to Goring. Goring, a rink-wide pass for Sutter, and he almost got away, but was spun around by Coffey. Now it's Lorimer shooting it back in. Andy Moog stopping it behind his own net. We have played 2.5 minutes in this overtime session. Here's a pass. Across the line offside with Brett Callaghan.
Both teams seem a little tight in this overtime, not really making the good plays that they did earlier in the game. Wayne Gretzky right now, the leading point getter in this series, just kept right on going after the fantastic season. He has number 99. He's made several outstanding plays tonight. Melanson to be particularly sharp. That one move he made in and out of 2 different guys as he was falling. Good save.
Bossy and Gilly. Considered to send out the Gary Unger unit. Unger, Lumley, and Hunter. The checking line for it. Doing quite an effective job against the big line for New York. It's fired in. Icing will be called as it's touched by Lowe.
I guess that would be a good way of keeping Gretzky and company off the ice, playing Trotier's line. Stamina becomes such an important factor right now. I'm sure both coaches, before the start of this overtime, had said, now look at guys, you got to make those ships very short.
Peter Pocklington, the owner of the Oilers and the premier of the province of Alberta, Peter Lougheed, watching the activity.
And another thing, Don, also is make those line changes properly. The best time is shoot it in the zone and then make your line change.
shot man back of his own net. Up along the boards for Bob Bourne, who has replaced Clark Gillies. Bourne in across the line. Trottier going for the net. Bourne tried to center it. It bounced high and was taken in against the boards by Lumley. He's bodied. Bourne gets it again at the side of the net. Fossey with a spin-around shot, and Moog stood his ground. Fossey hasn't had many scoring opportunities, but all of his shots have been on the net. Now it's Lowe playing it off the glass and down the ice, and this will produce an icing call against Edmonton.
Now that was the first good scoring chance of this sudden death overtime, and Andy Moog kept his ground there, stood firm and tall, was able to keep that from going in the net. Fossey just spins around and shoots it. Moog had that short side covered beautifully. Can't say enough about this youngster. Sensational last night, the same tonight.
Off to the left of Andy Moog with 16:36 remaining in this overtime period.
You know, both teams, they don't want to sit back and just wait for something to happen. You want to force the action as long as you have that safety valve to help you out.
Here's Lorimer with the drive, and Moog makes the catch down on his knees.
Face-off, really bear down on those. Lorimer. Actually, Moog had an easy time of it. Oilers did a good job of clearing the front of the net so that he can have a look at it. Nystrom, you're always fearful of him. He has a tendency of scoring overtime goals.
Well, of course, he was the overtime hero in the deciding game against Philadelphia in the Stanley Cup final last year. Back to the line. Lorimer again. A shot that is deflected wide. Now along the board, Howard fighting there with the Riviere, and finally it's cleared to center ice. Lorimer shoots it back in, but the New York Islanders were caught offside.
Wayne Merrick played his best hockey in that Toronto series, shutting down Sidler's line with him on Martin. Hughes, Kelly killing, and as a defensive unit out there, this line here of Nystrom, Howard, and Merrick, they did some kind of checking job, and here they are against Gretzky's line.
You know, we talked, Gary, about the youth of the Edmonton Oilers. These New York Islanders aren't exactly relics. Merrick is one of the oldest players on the team at 29.
Where have all the seasoned veterans gone?
To the broadcast booth, my friend. Now it's brought in by Merrick. Howard is knocked off the puck. It goes loose in the corner. Howard gets back in there. He's a tenacious individual. He's trying to get it out front. However, it winds up in the pads of Gary LaRiviere. And we'll have a face-off in the Edmonton zone. Very tight checking in this overtime session.
Jari Kurri, his best season. What a year he had. You know, his statistics offensively are sometimes not the true story of Jari Kurri. Oftentimes you'll see the Oilers employing their defensemen to get involved offensively. Kurri, tremendous at staying back and covering up in that position. Bill Harris talks very highly about him as a defensive player. You think, Kurri, defensive player?
It's an interesting story, too, about Jari Kurri having quite a sense of humor, even though he does have some difficulty with the language. He's got a meter on the clock, and some of his shots are directed at Wayne Gretzky. In back of the goal, Sutter is bodied, still manages to get the puck back to the other side to Langevin, up along the boards, kept in by Hicks. Hicks plays it back of the goal. Now it's Anderson to Messier, and Messier centered it, but it was intercepted by Tonelli. Tonelli in across the line, feeding it in front, and Sutter was tied up neatly by Hicks. Up along the boards, Messier gets it out into the center ice area to Anderson. Anderson had it knocked away from him by Langevin. And it's Sutter with it for New York. In across the line, trying to feed it to Tonelli. Tonelli spins around and takes the shot, but Sutter directed to the goal. Now Hagman brings it back for Edmonton at the line. up by Anderson, but the whistle goes on the offside call, and the fans didn't like that one.
Yeah, Glenn Anderson was home free. He thought he had picked that puck up before it crossed the blue line. See if we can pick it up. Hagman, he'll cross the blue line. I don't know. I don't know. The only explanation is perhaps Hagman had stripped. And that took care of the offside, because the puck did not cross the line when Anderson picked it up.
Now it's Potvin shooting it in for New York. Moog misses back of the goal. Gillies gets it. Trottier back to the line. Potvin shoots, save, rebound. Another save by Moog. It's loose, they bang away. And Trottier with Moog down just failed to jam it in. The best scoring chance of the game. Trottier back to the net. Still has it. Trottier trying to come out front. Now he's tied up by Lowe. Trying to center it. It goes loose. He bangs at it again. Gillies has it between his skates. They jam away at it. To the line, not out. Morrow shoots. He scores! Ken Morrow, the overtime hero for the New York Islanders, as they win at 5-4. That goal coming at 5:41 of overtime.
Well, a tough break for the Edmonton Oilers. They battled hard, but Morrow from the point, but the pressure that the Islanders put on was tremendous here. Trottier again doing awesome work. There's the original save. Trottier, Fossey, everybody in there. And finally, it looked like Andy Moog had a piece of it. They're trying to shovel it under his pad, but to no avail. Islanders just a great forechecking job. Fossey, look at him get away. He's hit, he's knocked down, he gets hit again, he gets up, doesn't give that puck away. Look at him get away from Kevin Lowe and deflect it in front. The big guy there, Clark Gillies, and here it comes through a maze of players and catches the corner. Tough break for young Andy Moog, who played brilliantly.
Well, the Oilers came so close to getting it out of their own zone. However, they did not succeed in doing that, and Morrow blasted it from the line for the winning goal at 5:41 of overtime. And so the final score, the New York Islanders 5, Edmonton 4.
The proceeding has been a special presentation of ICENET, the Islanders Championship Entertainment Network.
Long Island's best team for insurance. Go for National Security Brokerage. You'll feel secure with National Security Brokerage. Let's go Islanders.